My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C, and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state. It is currently 1:29 p.m. and it is June 5th, 2025. This is documentation speaking to the maintenance of what is gang stalkers inside of a Starbucks, and it's recognizing gang stalking because of the supernatural occurrence over the building where you're recognizing gang stalkers who are also engaging in gang stalking in places like bathrooms, which is the exceedingly violent sex offense where the gang stalking is underway under the fake sun and an engineered light like what you saw yesterday when the demons engage in showing the fact that they are targeting you, while impossible light shoots inside of the Starbucks like you saw at 4 p.m. after 4 p.m. yesterday, driving at no time of day under the sun. Regardless of the documentation of the fake sun is never creating that. The demon possessed are engaging in what is demonstrating the fact that they're gang stalking as they commit that supernatural occurrence, which I've documented, which is a pattern of conduct in multiple cities and multiple counties at different venues, and it's never naturally occurring. It is never something that is normal. It's never something that you overlook either. The demon possessed, the gang stalkers, are pacing in traffic. They're pacing at the traffic lights. They're pacing at the gas stations. They're pacing in relevant position. The city of Ontario is gang stalking. The entity is doing so inside of the Starbucks, and Starbucks is in their headquarters is in Seattle, Washington. And it is every single Starbucks that I've ever been to that are engaging in what is the egregious act of psychological torture and molestation with impossible light while the people of the state pace in and out of the cafe, gang stalking while they are also engaged in federal stalking. So these are terrorists and sex offenders that know also that they're being documented. And I want to be clear, you're witnessing what is the outward demonstration of severe mental illness that is of the psychopathic nature. Those that are engaging in what is malicious conduct, psychopathic conduct, that which is the entity is engaging in the obsessive targeting, which is proven through the specific environment, not the outward demeanor where the demon possessed don't talk to you, don't address you, and you don't even have to have any sort of relationship with them. The entity is engaging in this P.O.C. where you've already seen the impossible light on the wall, so you already know what they're doing. You've seen the impossible light where they're preparing their drinks, so you already know who they are and what they're doing. And you've also seen the fake sun from 8 in the morning, 7 in the morning, as I documented in 2021, until what I'm documenting after 6 p.m. where the Ontario Police Department, the city of Ontario, is gang stalking with the people of the state. The reason why I started this video at 1:29 is because on this day in 2024, I'm living and working in Los Angeles. 32536 Frank 4 is stalking in the path under the fake sun and engineered light, and the vehicle is a method of light activity as I move inside of the venue. And that's just one vehicle because they're all creating light activity while they move in traffic under the fake sun. This is pacing on the inside. They're pacing as they go back and forth to the bathroom, monitoring, and engineered light is shooting inside while demons don't address you, monitoring you. That's high-level malice. This is movement as I walk, and you'll see the fake sun right over my head. And the fake sun over my head is speaking to what can never be the sun over 1810 North Alvarado Street, where at 1:28 p.m., the Los Angeles Police Department is doing the same thing that this demon is doing. Stalking in the path, creating what is audible activity, which is my voice, but this is activity creation under that fake sun, which is identifying the state that is acting with the people of the state in an environment that is absolutely irreconcilable with nature. I was standing right here in front at what was 11:31 a.m. The fake sun is in the same position. It is 1:33 p.m. The entity is keeping the fake sun, by the way, over 1810 North Alvarado Street at Alvarado Gardens, where LAPD is at the same time on video gang stalking by helicopter. In doing so with regard to the demonstration of mental illness, to engage in what is targeting, harassing, terrorizing, and surveilling an American citizen absent any warrant or probable cause, so for no legitimate interest by the government, as we are constitutionally governed, and so is the government constitutionally limited. And there is no basis where you're identifying the P.O.C. Remember, the fake sun is still here at 6:41 p.m., where you saw yesterday. The fake sun is still over the same building, merely on the opposite side of the same address, 507. This is called crossing path over and over again. And so what you're looking at is pacing. And when they're engaging in pacing, they're targeting me with impossible light on the inside. And the impossible light activity that the demon possessed are targeting with is shared by both the government, those in positions of government, like the police and the fire department and the Ontario International Airport, which is gang stalking over the sky space, which you saw, Delta Airlines flying right here over the medical Unicare, and while the entity is keeping the fake sun here. And you're mindful of the fact that it's still here where the Ontario police are gang stalking by flying in helicopter at 6:41 p.m. yesterday. That is speaking to a duration of time which is supernatural. Okay, it's extraordinary, and you're understanding what is public corruption, while surveillance is built into how the entity is conducting itself. The sun that's over 507 North Euclid Avenue is not the natural environment as it is at the same time on the same day shared, which is impossible. That this is also over Alvarado Gardens at 1810 North Alvarado Street, but that's exactly what I'm documenting when I walk outside of my office and LAPD is stalking again. In another video, under the fake sun and amongst engineered light in Los Angeles, that's where the fake sun is rising and setting, where I work and where I live at Alvarado Gardens. And the entity is engaging in what I documented here. Again, the fake sun remaining until after 6:41 p.m. yesterday, June 4th, 2025. And I'm documenting it in the morning when the entity is keeping that fake sun over me, and it's covered up. Nonetheless, from 11:45 until 6:41 p.m. is equally impossible. That's recognizing where targeting is underway, and everything going in and out is pacing. That's light activity. As they use their vehicles, it's light activity. And they're also engaged in terrorism, as I'm publishing evidence, because they're engaging in surveillance while they're clearly gang stalking. And that psychological torture, such as stalking with light, molesting with light, harassing with impossible light activity, psychopathic pacing, because that's all it is. And it's underway at the Starbucks, okay? This is P.O.C. The entity's keeping the fakes in the same manner over 1810 North Alvarado Street in Los Angeles, monitoring. And this third party is monitoring with minor children, license 32536E4. This is P.O.C. This is understanding how the elements of monitoring remain underway at a venue where the sun sits over the Starbucks for the duration of the day. And then you're looking at the analytical framework where it's clearly targeting when you have the engineered light, like you've seen, like I've documented, when you have the fake sun that sits over the building for 11 plus hours, and when you have the government gang stalking, like the Ontario Police Department, the Ontario Fire, and the Ontario International Airport are demonstrating while this fake sun remains over this venue, which is not the natural environment where the sun is, like I'm documenting on this day in 2025, remaining over 1810 North Alvarado Street. That's directly tying together what is the gang stalking that's underway at the nearby at the neighborhood Starbucks. That's P.O.C. This is seamless monitoring. When they're driving, when they're walking, they're pacing. All right. When they are across the street, this is all monitoring me, and it's clearly identified and unique and specific because of the fake sun remains over me. If I go to Ovid Family Community Library, which is north, the fake sun remains over me, which I've documented that already. The entity is keeping the fake sun over Starbucks, and the entity is keeping the fake sun at the same time when I'm remaining at Woodside Senior Apartments from sunrise until sunset. There is no provision for what the entity is doing with regard to identifying the specific environment. So that's the point. It is currently 1:37 p.m. The entity is engaged in federal stalking, monitoring communication devices, monitoring by the demons of the Ontario Fire Department are under the fake sun that's remaining over me while LAPD is on this day gang stalking by helicopter. This is the government engaging the pattern of conduct while the entity is keeping the light source over the Starbucks. This is the exhibiting severe mental illness while what is public corruption is underway, and the demon possessed engage in this very pattern. They will come in on camera while you document. They will come in while you're documenting on podcast and engage in that criminal pattern of conduct right in front of the targeted individual. This is the psychopathic pattern of conduct. It is not a demonstration of innocence at all. They know that they're being documented, and this is the boldness of the demon possessed. These are maniacal psychopaths who are obsessively monitoring my vagina. And the truth of that, the proof of that is the fake sun that's over the building, where the Ontario Fire Department enters to communicate a threat, where the Ontario Police Department are gang stalking at the Starbucks with helicopter, where the Ontario International Airport is gang stalking with commercial planes. Doing so in real time. So let's remind you what the Ontario Fire Department is stalking under. They're stalking under the fake sun. And doing the same thing that LAPD is doing on this day at the same time, in this remarkable environment where this sun is going to stay over this building until after 6 p.m. That's P.O.C. And the people of the state are gang stalking with the government. The Ontario Fire Department represents the city of Ontario. This is the removal of Paul Leon from office. Michael GERKEN removed from position. This is P.O.C. All right, it is Thursday, June 5th, 2025. It's 2:08 p.m. And the Starbucks personnel, contrary to what you may have been conditioned with propaganda, especially in this country regarding mental illness, they are exhibiting severe mental illness while they are engaging in gang stalking. They are stalking with amplified noise. They are creating light activity while they are inside of the cafe, and they are gang stalking under the fake sun that's sitting, documented. I'm capturing images and video of it. They are stalking while on the job being paid by Starbucks, a corrupt company, monitoring American citizens via its demon-possessed employees. And this is not the only Starbucks. The first Starbucks that I've documented engaging in the pattern of conduct, which is so specific, and the pattern of conduct is supernatural. It is nothing other than criminal surveillance. And the demon-possessed that are working at this Starbucks at 507 North Euclid Avenue today on June 5th, 2025, are under the fake sun, like you heard in the video, at the same time that the LAPD is under the fake sun. Now, with regard to it being a fake sun, that's what's required, because the natural environment could never include the sun being over 507 North Euclid Avenue at 1:29 p.m., which is the same time that the sun is over me in an entirely different region, that is Los Angeles, not over Euclid Avenue, not over C Street, not near the Chevron on the opposite side of this same street where the Ontario Police Department were gang stalking on video, as you can recognize that pattern, under the fake sun that's over the same Starbucks yesterday at 11:54 a.m. This same fake sun where it remains over this same Starbucks, not moving, not being over Woodside Senior Apartments, not over Tracy Banks' front door. What is over Starbucks on Euclid Avenue and C Street would not be seen even over the sky space of Woodside Senior Apartments. It would not be directly over the top of my head. It would not be causing any sunlight over the cooling unit on the outside where I put my arm through it so that you could see the engineered light that everybody is pacing under in order to stalk me and monitor me. The entities engaging in the pattern of conduct and exhibiting mental illness while they are stalking with amplified noise while they are preparing drinks. This is Starbucks engaging in domestic terrorism and psychological torture while making a buck, and they're gang stalking with the demons that come in and order drinks. And they do this with children in hand as well. They're doing it with the Ontario Fire Department, which is what you listen to. And the Ontario Fire Department, the state, the demon-possessed, decided to be seen on video under that fake sun at the same time that the LAPD is on video under the fake sun in Los Angeles, which is directly incriminating the demons at Starbucks, the demons who are the people of the state, the demons at Woodside Senior Apartments, the demons in Las Vegas, Nevada at Courtyard by Marriott, where the fake sun is over me at 12:08 p.m. as I am exiting that venue when I am going at the same time of year, by the way. I went to Las Vegas, Nevada, capturing the fake sun over me out of the state of California. It remained over my vehicle, over the top of my head, just like it is at this Starbucks in Ontario, where I have been and documenting the fake sun since it stopped covering it up, the fake sun, because you know that the fake sun rises at 6:33 a.m. I documented that at Woodside Senior Apartments, and Tracy Banks is in that video stalking in the path. Where that which is not the natural environment, it is the specific environment, as I've shown. Nothing but criminal monitoring is underway, and it's demonic. And this is what you need to understand, is preparing your cafe drinks. The demon-possessed who are gang stalking and monitoring you, and they are also obsessively monitoring your genitalia. And as you are inclined to enforce your rights, the demon-possessed with whom they are targeting, the government and the people of the state themselves, they're all demons. They engage in more of their demonic pattern of conduct, and that's what you see on video yesterday afternoon at approximately 4:27 p.m. You'll see the video during the 4 p.m. hour where impossible light is moving all across the leather seat on the inside of the Starbucks, and it's coexisting with the pacing of the demons who are driving vehicles on Euclid Avenue, where, by the way, during that 4 p.m. hour, the fake sun is over the same building that it was yesterday at 11:45 in the morning, and that it is today, as I captured at 11:32 in images, which you will see on the Google Drive, showing a consistent body of evidence of the maintenance of a light source over my head, which is ignorantly referred to as the sun, but it is impossible to be the sun, and that is the purpose of the documentation, showing a fake sun remaining over me and being targeted with light which is not characteristic of sunlight either. The fake sun is a very poorly set stage where the demon-possessed are readily identified as engaging in that pattern of conduct, and it is going by the name of Starbucks at 507 North Euclid Avenue. Starbucks is already on the map, including this one. They are demonstrating impunity and a willingness and a necessity to go to federal prison and be diagnosed while they're stalking with amplified noise, while they are stalking while demons pace in and out of the cafe, demons pace to and from the registers to order, demons pace inside of the cafe toward the bathroom, stalking in the bathroom stall while amplified noise is created, impossible light shoots through, and then the demons pace out of the bathroom. Whether or not they're actually relieving themselves is irrelevant. They're going in and pacing in to monitor me. This is what the demon-possessed are doing in that specific environment, which, by the way, I documented video at 1:29 p.m. so that you would be mindful of what happened on June 5th, 2024 at 1:28 p.m. At 1:29 p.m., you are looking at the Los Angeles Police Department shown to be gang stalking in a helicopter, identified by the maintenance of a fake sun that is over my head, while UPS license 513 is gang stalking with the Los Angeles Police Department. The same African-American male, in fact, that knew that he was documented before. He engaged in the pattern of conduct of repeating that terrorism that he engaged in on May 7, 2024 at 11:50 a.m. By the way, time of your analysis applies. The entity has a fake sun over Starbucks where I'm at right now at 11:54 yesterday, where Ontario PD are gang stalking in the path of the Chevron across the street while the fake sun is over me. UPS is gang stalking on May 7, 2024 at 11:50 a.m. at Alvarado Gardens, and it's directly over the top of my head. UPS arrives bearing license plate 45135J3 and does so with LAPD, who's exhibiting severe mental illness, going on a tirade, gang stalking me in helicopter, as the demon-possessed do when I document them. And so the same UPS driver, not just UPS, but the same UPS driver also is engaging in what is repeating the act of terrorism, gang stalking, psychological torture, and doing so with the same face that you documented. This is the appetite to engage in what is harming other people. This is the psychopathic personality disorder. This is the outward demonstration of mental illness as well. And so UPS is gang stalking on video at 1:28 p.m. on this day in 2024, where demons are preparing drinks for demons that are coming into the restaurant and are remaining in the restaurant, gang stalking, including with children like you see on video. And they are bearing also Ontario Fire Department uniforms, intentionally walking in to be caught on camera. That does not make them look innocent. It doesn't make the people of the state, certainly, it doesn't make anyone look innocent, but this is the rationale of the demon-possessed who engage in more of what you document, failing to understand that this is for prosecution and it's for exposure so that people understand demonic activity and you understand the satanic monitoring system that's underway in this country, and you also understand the national security threat as American citizens are being monitored and targeted by psychopaths who are demon-possessed, and they are occupying positions in government. That's what the Ontario Police Department is demonstrating. That's what the Ontario Fire Department is demonstrating. That's what the Ontario International Airport is demonstrating, while they go to the farthest extent, having commercial planes flying over the Starbucks, flying adjacent to the Starbucks, flying, doing donuts, hovering in the sky space in alignment to me, monitoring me, using commercial airline planes such as Delta Airlines. But every single airline is gang stalking in the city of Ontario at the Ontario International Airport. But Delta Airlines is on video in an environment that is irreconcilable, and it is documented engaging in that pattern of conduct as the people of the state in concert with the state. The Ontario International Airport will be documented, prosecuted as a state actor, as a facilitating venue, not an airport that is engaging in what is under no circumstances ever going to be suspected or questioned. No one's going to look at, you're looking at everything because the fake sun's remaining over me. These psychopaths are engaging in psychological torture and molesting and terrorizing with impossible light, while they are also engaging in surveillance. So as I published the kidnapping attempt on May 29, 2025, that kidnapping attempt that's on video is immediately followed with the second attempt, where Tracy Banks goes from just stating medication, stating you need examinations, to then she's stating, making up that she was physically attacked, and that's how the entity accomplishes kidnapping. But the first kidnapping attempt is on video. As I publish this information from May 29th, this is when the light activity is occurring with regard to shooting at me, accosting my person, molesting my person, while psychopaths that don't talk to you, don't look at you, don't address you, engaging in conduct as though they're consumed with something else, and they are stalking. The fact that they're stalking is the fake sun. The fact that they're stalking is the fake sun that remains over the Starbucks as long as I remain here. The fact that they're stalking is proven through the impossible light activity that I also documented on video, again, because I've already gotten it in 2021. Not only were the sex offenders who are obsessed with my vagina are gang stalking me in the bathroom at the same Starbucks where impossible light is shooting all over the door, but they're doing so where I am seated. That's also speaking to targeting by demons who know exactly who you are. You are an entirely deranged psychopath to stalk someone and keep your back to them because it's supposed to falsely depict the target individual as imagining things. That's also psychopathic. The demon-possessed are always exhibiting their mental illness while they seek to use what are illusions to target the American citizen that is being gang stalked. The illusions are the impossible light activity, which you would allege, but you can't prove. I've already proven that. The illusion is the specific environment, the amplified audible activity. It's not happening because the plane is clearly too far away. How can you hear that? That's supposed to be falsely depicting the character of the target individual. You can't possibly hear that plane. You can't possibly hear that helicopter. It's too far away. You document the pattern of conduct. It's demonic. It's amplification. In fact, the plane isn't even the cause of the audible activity of the plane that you see. It's demonic. You have in your line of vision a plane, a helicopter, but the sound that's created in the environment is as demonic as the sun sitting over 507 North Euclid Avenue, for 7 hours. Okay, combining what you're seeing, your line of vision, with what you are hearing. This is what the demon possessed are doing when they're targeting, when they're seeking to engage in domestic terrorism, when they're doing so amongst a population who do not know the target individual, when they're doing so with the government that has no reason to be targeting an American citizen. I mean, they've committed no crime. There's no warrant out for them. There's no ongoing investigation for some sort of commission of a crime that they've engaged in. This is supposed to falsely depict the character of the target individual. In addition to what the entity has done as late as May 29, 2025, just trying to engage in what is a kidnapping one way or another. And that doesn't work either, but it is informative because the demons that are targeting at while I'm remaining at Starbucks, these are the same demons, the same entity that committed the kidnapping on May 29, 2025. And all of the entity is aware of who I am and every single thing that I document, everything that I state. They're aware of when I pull my panties down. They're aware of what's going on in the bathroom while the demon possessed, the sex offenders are monitoring inside of that space. You know that because of the fake sun. You know that because of the engineered light. Where then on the next moment, where these short-sighted demons want to drive by as though there's nothing suspicious going on. You've already seen the evidence and it does not change. A supernatural occurrence only needs to happen one time. And it is one entity that is collectively engaging in that on an ongoing basis. The malice is what is demonstrating severe mental illness. The entity is engaging in a pattern of conduct and it is incriminating the people of the state who are going to be prosecuted. The government is going to be prosecuted for targeting an American citizen with American citizens. The government is going to be prosecuted for targeting an American citizen through the corrupt departments of the government. As you see the Ontario Police, the Ontario Fire Department, you see the City of Ontario, literally the municipality gang stalking. You see the City of Ontario through the people of the state because they're not individual citizens. They're in the shoes of the state where they're stalking with the state. You see the state gang stalking by the fire department, and you see the state gang stalking by working at Starbucks. It's the people of the state and the state in the same position with regard to direct and vicarious engagement in what is criminal. Gang stalking, federal group stalking, and monitoring. All right, the entity is doing so with knowledge also that it's being documented. That is speaking to, I'm being accosted with engineered light as I begin providing details and publishing on X the kidnapping that occurred on May 29, 2025. I'm being accosted with light, which is occurring, again, as I publish it, the more and more concentrated, the more and more frequent, the more and more chaotic and circus-like the light activity is, while a bunch of psychopaths are sitting around like it's not happening. I've documented it at every single Starbucks, so it is already known also as a matter of record what Starbucks is engaging in against American citizens, and I'm going to drain the pockets of Starbucks in the same way that Aveneth Capital Management engaging in what is kidnapping in order to have me removed, and also to obstruct justice, hoping that I would remain kidnapped. You're going to federal prison for that, just like I stated. Linda Reyes is going to federal prison for that. She committed a kidnapping with the intent to obstruct justice. She is gang stalking like Starbucks is proving she is a gang stalker. And that's motive, understanding greater context, why the entity Linda Reyes engaged in kidnapping with Tracy Banks, with the Ontario Police, who are gang stalking at Starbucks at 507 North Euclid Avenue under the fake sun that's no longer over Woodside because I'm not at Woodside. Okay, this is the P.O.C. What Los Angeles is doing on this day in 2025 at the same exact time is the prosecution of the city of Ontario, of every department, in other words, the state of California, and you're recognizing it in that specific environment. And not only that, it's informing you wherever you are in this country, because while I am showing you duration of time analysis of a fake sun sitting over one building, which is now Starbucks, from what is not just documentation in 2025 from yesterday, June 4th to today, June 5th, because I documented this same exact venue, literally the city, but Starbucks at 507 North Euclid Avenue in 2021. These demons are gang stalking at this same exact Starbucks during the 7 a.m. and 8 a.m. hour, during also the same time of year. But even if it was in winter, outside of daylight savings time, you're only giving away or taking an hour away. There is no reconciling a 11-hour, 10-hour duration of time of the fake sun, necessarily the fake sun, remaining over the building. It's nothing other than the P.O.C., where you are giving context about what's going on. So demons are pacing in and out of the bathroom to engage in relevant positioning. That's also bathroom monitoring. They're engaged in bathroom monitoring when my genitalia is exposed in that private space, and they're pacing all around like frenzied sex offenders, knowing that my vagina is exposed. Those are sex offenders engaged in bathroom monitoring as well. They're engaged in bathroom monitoring when you are looking at impossible light shooting all through the cafe while people are outside of the building ostensibly ignorant about me, not targeting me, but you're looking at the fake sun over this Starbucks Starbucks in a manner that is supernatural, and you're looking at the impossible light shooting through like it's an arcade, and that's how you know that they know who I am. That's how you know that they are demons. That's how you know that they are targeting. That's how you know that they're stalking altogether. And that's very sick as well. You need to understand that the demon-possessed are mentally ill. In fact, the demon-possessed engage in what is projecting mental illness onto those who are capable of exposing them, like myself. But I want to also be clear, I am one who has been subject to this in order to expose it, because like I pointed out before, and like I will expound upon in what is another kidnapping, that I will detail the documentation, I will detail those whose license, their medical license, their position, and their tactics. I'm going to do all of that with regard to the details of this kidnapping that the Arrowhead Regional Medical Center engaged in. Those are demons that are in the medical field, gang stalking. Okay, very malicious what the medical profession engages in when they're targeting with the state of California, their government actor. But nonetheless, the entity is engaging what is alleging what mental illness that has nothing to do with the ability to formulate and document and capture what is the pattern of conduct. You're documenting the fake sun that's remaining over a building all day long. That has nothing to do with some sort of mental illness that would render that objective documentation illegitimate. The entity is merely relying on name calling in order that it is just discarded, that you are discarded altogether. But it doesn't work. Do you understand? Even if the entity were to, and it's not going to happen, but I can even entertain, if I were to remain kidnapped inside of a facility and I wasn't able to get out, and I was successful to say they drugged me up. I'm stuck there. I concede. I was like, oh yes, I'm mentally ill. Say I'm like the ordinary target individual, and I concede for whatever reason I'm mentally ill. Just whatever the circumstance you want to imagine. Under my point is that imagine that I'm remaining inside of the facility. My documentation, the evidence of the P.O.C. Do you understand that it stands alone by itself? It is not specific to the identity of the person that's documenting it. It's only specific to me because I'm the only person that has exposed it. I'm the only person that has withstood and resisted this pattern of conduct that's intended to obstruct justice and conceal the system by kidnapping me repeatedly. Okay, and then by engaging in what is sexual violence, by engaging in what is harassment, psychological torture. Oh, we'll stalk you more with helicopters. Oh, we'll accost you more with impossible light. Oh, we'll get louder with the amplified audible activity. Oh, we'll follow you everywhere with commercial planes, everywhere you go as you document it. This is the stalker that is openly admitting, first of all, that they're stalking. That is the most sick type of, that's mental illness. This is a stalker, that's an entity. This is a stalker that is proudly boasting as they engage in their pattern of conduct about stalking me, exhibiting mental illness in doing so. But nonetheless, my point is that the documentation of what is the sun that's over Los Angeles at Alvarado Gardens at 1810 North Alvarado Street on video. It's objective evidence. It's not just what I said, and then they could say, oh, well, Erica's mentally ill. You can disregard what she said because you can't listen to her. You know, she's not all the way there. No, Erica took video so that everyone can see what it is that I documented. And you can take Erica out of the equation because you will just see my black hand pointing to a sun that's over me in the same manner in Los Angeles at 1810 North Alvarado Street at 1:28 p.m. And you're paying attention to what I pointed out at the outset. In that remarkable environment, I am always being harassed and terrorized and followed by helicopters that are associated with police departments, while that sun that I'm documenting at 1:28 p.m. is on the same day in 2025, which is not only time of day analysis, same time, but time of year analysis, same day. And you're talking about what is the duration of time. The entity kept the fake sun over me all day in Los Angeles at Alvarado Gardens. The entity's keeping the fake sun over me all day like I'm documenting at now Starbucks. 507 North Euclid Avenue. And remember, the 2021 documentation precedes what LAPD, Michael Moore, Dominic Choi, Karen Bass engaged in targeting me in the city of Los Angeles before I went to LA in 2024. The city of Ontario is already on the record. And my evidence of the sun being over me on this day in 2024 at 1:28 p.m. and being over my head in the same manner on this day in 2025 at the same exact time, 1:28 p.m. is evidence that stands alone, recognizing the specific environment. In other words, there is no way that that could ever be. How is that? But I captured it, I documented it, and it's directly relevant to everything and everybody that's surrounding. I am documenting it because I have been subject to a pattern of harassment, a pattern of kidnapping, a pattern of defamation, because I'm documenting it, because I'm subject to this, and it has permeated every aspect of my life. You also know that they're demons because they targeted me for no reason. So why is it that you chose to target me when I've committed no crime and I didn't do anything wrong? I didn't steal some demon's husband. I didn't join a cult and was fraternizing with the demons, and then I made them my enemies because I went around gossiping about them, or I stole from them, or I took a position at a company from another demon. No, these demons were targeting me when I had no idea about the fact that they were interested in targeting me in the first place, and they did it for no reason. And remember, these demons are the government. I've committed no crime. I represent a profitable contribution to society. I'm highly educated. I'm a professional in the legal. I'm a professional in the legal field, formerly practicing law. The entity gang stalking me on the job, so I go to property management. The entity gang stalking me on the job, which is what LAPD is doing on this day in 2024. And this is the entity that was targeting me for no reason. And I'm letting you know that's how you also know that they're demons. They know who you are while they're monitoring you in the spirit. Those who walk with Christ, those who are spiritually gifted as well, to call out who are the demons. That's what that's about. The demon-possessed being threatened, and they are threatened while I document them, and they threaten me and harass me while I document and publish shit on the internet. But I want to be clear, while they do that, I'm going to prosecute. This is not the ordinary circumstance when they're targeting somebody and it's breaking them down, and then they're not able to, they're giving in, and it's resulting in what is a wearing down of an individual to the point to where they just get. That's not what's happening. I have a body of evidence, a repository of documentation to prosecute and to prove, not only beyond a reasonable doubt in court, but also to prove to anybody regarding the substance of what I'm talking about, the spiritual character of those who are gang stalking. They are indeed the demon possessed, and unfortunately, but this is the reality that you need to know, the demon possessed are more than those who are not. Millions of them, millions and millions and millions of people who are of this condition, who are engaging in this pattern of conduct, and they're intentionally doing so while you have hundreds, as I sit in Starbucks for the duration of the day, thousands of people gang stalking, pacing. That's not traffic. You're understanding, as the fake sun remains over all of them in traffic all day long, the entity, which is the whole group together, is merely pacing. That's sick behavior. That's Satan, in other words, which is a spirit that's using all of the people, including government actors, who are just going back and forth and 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 back and forth around me. And that ability to recognize that as the fake sun that remains over me in the building where I'm at is the engineer light shooting in like a laser, while you would, on the other hand, in court, would like to allege, I don't even know the target individual. I'm not targeting. I have no idea. I don't know why my driving by and is coexisting with light shooting in and accosting her and moving all across and terrorizing her inside of the Starbucks. But it's a documented pattern of conduct, and it is also unreasonable to suggest that documented pattern of conduct is something that is separate and ignorantly underway by the population, who is also remaining all around me under that fake sun. You're getting to the prosecution of the demon possessed who utilize supernatural methods of targeting someone, and it's going to be used to diagnose them and to prosecute them being the state of California, them being the government actors, them being the demons that are wearing Ontario Fire Department uniforms and walking on camera into this cafe, incriminating all the people of the state. Because that's exactly what the Ontario Fire Department did under the 1:29 p.m. fake sun that's over me at the same time on this same day in 2024 at where LAPD is gang stalking me, specifically me, because the fake sun is over me in LA, and this is necessarily a fake sun at the same time of year where the sun would be at the substantially same location, meaning it never would have even been in Los Angeles in the first place, because I documented Ontario before I relocated to Los Angeles. That's how you know that the state is targeting. When I moved to Los Angeles, so does that fake sun. And under that fake sun, amongst that engineer light, terrorism by law enforcement agencies who are indeed targeting and monitoring. These are the demon possessed who are psychopaths demonstrating their mental illness while they stalk me in helicopters. And I've provided, and I'm continuously adding on the evidence where you can see them engaging in the psychopathic pacing, flying in circles around me everywhere that I'm going, and you're looking at the specific environment while they do so. I'm documenting that where the entity keeps a fake sun over me. That's where demons are exhibiting mental illness and flying in circles all around me, flying in circles adjacent to me, flying in circles while I begin documenting as well, while the demon-possessed engage in what is demonstrating their mental illness outwardly, while they're stalking me in a way that was never supposed to be proven, never supposed to make sense to you while you listen to me tie together this environment that's supernatural, this environment that defies nature, this environment that's surrounding you wherever you're at in this country, and what they're doing in that environment, and they're gang stalking as the government, directly and vicariously. The government engaged in kidnapping on May 29, 2025. The government is on video gang stalking, which is incriminating those that are at Starbucks today on the same day at the same time. And the government are mentally ill while they walk into this cafe on video, the Ontario Fire Department, and engaging in what is a high level of malice, but a low level of intelligence. But that is the pattern of conduct of the entity. They jump in front of what is the documentation efforts. Nope, and it's very unprofitable, it's very foolish. The Ontario International Airport does the same thing, the Ontario Police Department does the same thing, the Ontario Fire Department, they do this, the people of the state, they do the same thing. First of all, it's a spirit. Satan is very arrogant, Satan is very egotistical, but Satan is defeated. So Satan has all this bravado, and Satan is a dummy that's caught under a fake sun. So what is it that you're making look innocent while light is shooting in here like an arcade? Nobody is disregarding that evidence and then looking at you like, oh, it must be fine because you're the fire department. No, it's letting you know that the fire department is full of demons. And you know that they're gang stalking me at Woodside Senior Apartments under the fake sun. Okay, they're already on video demonstrating severe mental illness and a high life-threatening level of malice. Those demons have no business having access to fire trucks. They have no business being in the presence of those who cannot protect themselves or identify them as the domestic terrorists that they are. But they are certainly unfit to be in a position of government, such as putting out fires. The Ontario Fire Department, Michael Gerken, they're violent sex offenders engaging in bathroom monitoring, because that's what the City of Ontario is doing while I am inside of this venue, and any venue in Ontario, as I've already shown. Mercy House, the Ontario Ovitt Family Community Library, Woodside Senior Apartments, whether I'm at the Starbucks in Ontario, this one at 507 North Euclid Avenue, or the Starbucks at 706 West Holt Boulevard, whether I'm at the Stater Brothers on Holt Boulevard, whether I am walking down the street, the City of Ontario is gang stalking, obsessively stalking with the people of the state, who are all engaged in what is public corruption. And that's a basis to prosecute the business and the employees of that business. They don't have any constitutionally protected basis to engage in the pattern of conduct, and that's exactly what is directly rebutting and superseding what is the malice of those who are psychopaths engaging in the P.O.C, targeting an American citizen as a government program. And necessarily doing it through the illusion of anonymity. There's nothing anonymous, there's nothing mysterious, there's nothing with regard to any sort of strangers amongst the impossible light activity and under the fake sun. And there is also, speaking to the direct evidence of it, because LAPD is under the fake sun on the same day at the same time, which is speaking to somebody is in an environment that is entirely suspicious, okay? And that is nothing that you will ever overlook. The demon-possessed would like to disregard it and merely call names, but it's absolutely illogical to do that because they were not able to create or provide any sort of explanation, which NASA has never addressed, the fake sun that's remaining over where I live all day long, where I remain all day long. This is also documented at every hotel that I remained at. This is documented at every venue where I reside, and there is no explanation that even NASA has provided, especially when they talk about getting in rockets, getting in ships, and going into outer space, where they're talking about the sun is located, and I'm showing you something that's sitting on the roof of the apartment building where I'm remaining from the beginning until the end of the day, and moving as I move at that same apartment complex. I'm showing you what is light that's shooting horizontally, perpendicular to the position of the sun above us, and movement underneath. How is that ever creating what is light shooting, what would be at the ground level underneath that light source by mere movement of vehicles? And this is what the demon possessors are doing also when they're walking in engineer light. Do not forget the demons that are gang stalking on that sidewalk outside of Tracy Banks' apartment, Unit 51, where when they walk, the shadows of their persons appear behind them inside of Tracy Banks' apartment on her living room wall. That's the same pattern of conduct, another iteration of the same P.O.C, stalking with light that is engineered, stalking with impossible light activity. The engineered light is relevant to surveillance, and it's demonic in nature, and it's letting you know those that are engaging in that pattern of conduct, those who are engaging in the pattern of conduct by ordering a drink, by driving their vehicle, by coming in and holding the hands of kids, taking them to the bathroom, sitting in the cafe, making phone calls, preparing the cafe drinks, driving in the drive-thru, driving in the dumpster trucks, driving in the fire trucks, driving in the American medical response vehicles, driving in the Ontario Police Department vehicles, flying in every single plane that's associated with the Ontario International Airport that has no Terminal 2 or Terminal 4 where they're ever going to be hovering and rising in elevation over C Street, like I'm documenting. This is where the demon-possessed are engaged in, and they are clearly proven to be engaging in what is nothing other than, it could not be anything other than targeting through in a manner and in an environment that is entirely supernatural, and it is exposing to you what you cannot ignore, and also what is directly proving the truth of what it is that I'm speaking, that I'm not into making up tales about Dracula and vampires. These are indeed the demon-possessed, and their entire pattern of conduct is demonic as well. But it's serving a criminal system in order to prosecute the government for corruption, pursuant to what is monitoring that the government does not have consent about. The government has not released or disclosed the fact that they're keeping American citizens under surveillance. They haven't disclosed the fact that they're monitoring, and they're doing so in a manner with the people of the state, where they're also engaging in what is conspiracies to murder and kidnap targeted individuals who are subject to this monitoring system for purposes of kidnapping and murder. The entity is doing so with a level of impunity and malice even while I speak. So it's 2:39 p.m. Impossible light activity, like I documented on video. So I will refer to that because the video that you will see is documented yesterday, which is June 4th at 4:52 p.m. That same light activity is occurring right now at 2:39, and it was occurring before. That's why I captured video at 1:29 p.m. showing you the fake sun, and then also being mindful. The impossible light activity is a method of harassment and terrorism and psychological torture tactics by demons who are engaging in surveillance, who are hostile to what it is that they know is being published online on my communication device about them as an entity, and it's government action as well. This is what Paul Leon is being removed from office for. Also relevant to Michael GERKEN, Mike LORENZ, Alan D. WAPNER, and everybody in positions of leadership who are gang stalking public officials, demon-possessed public officials, monitoring with the civilian population, who are violent sex offenders, gang stalking throughout the city of Ontario, and doing so under the guise of holding the hands of little kids who are in here engaging in the demonic pattern of conduct right along with them. Okay, demon possession is not limited to the age of majority. But I just want to tie all that together because that's exactly what the demons are doing. When I'm referring to impossible light hitting me, it's exactly what you see on video, June 4, 2025 at 4:52 p.m. It's happening right now while I'm documenting podcasts because the demon possessed, who are violent sex offenders, which includes the Ontario Fire Department, who you will see on video and who you hear me referring to on video, and I convert it to the podcast, they're engaging in terrorism and gang stalking with impossible light. And then they walk in to order a drink where gang stalking is underway. They're gang stalking while the people of the state are engaging in what is presence, and they are outside, and that is shown through the fake sun remaining over the Starbucks for the duration of the day. That includes 11:31 a.m. until what is at least, like I documented yesterday, what is 6:41 p.m. where the Ontario Police Department is gang stalking by helicopter, because I'm documenting the fact that these demons who are stalking with impossible light, with knowledge of what it is that I am publishing and documenting about them, after having committed a kidnapping again on May 29, 2025, are obsessed with my vagina and are monitoring it. All right, it is currently 2:41 p.m. This is documentation with regard to prosecuting Starbucks. Starbucks, the corporate headquarters, which is in Seattle. So that corrupt third party is as corrupt as Daryl J. Carter and Abinath Capital Management, who is profiting from domestic terrorism, which is built into this corrupt system in this country, where the American citizens are creating businesses. They are engaging in what is generating wealth while the monitoring system is underway, under the guise of having privacy, under the guise of needing to abide by a certain system in order to survive. And it's built on promoting and facilitating this surveillance system, criminal monitoring. And it's criminal because the government doesn't have any constitutional authority to do it, and there is no existing constitutional authority to engage in gang stalking with the people of the state. This is a whole demonic system, okay? And so I want to make sure that that's clear, because when you see that video from yesterday, and I've documented it before, it's a pattern. I'm documenting the impossible light that you see on video at 4:52 p.m. yesterday, June 4th. I documented that in 2021, and I've documented impossible light activity in particularly Starbucks, but impossible light activity is the pattern of conduct. I've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of videos showing you impossible light activity. Engineered light is where monitoring is underway. The only condition of those who are engaging in monitoring are the demon possessed. So you need to know that the living dead, these are zombies that are going around living like they're normal. Yes, they go to church. Yes, they are a part of government bodies where they are feigning as though they respect and abide by the law. This is a whole farce with regard to this corrupt system that's embedded into government, embedded into society in California and in the United States. literally while you see the fake sun over me at 1:29 p.m., 4 o'clock and 4:29 p.m. in Florida on the East Coast, that is not possibly the same sun that's over you, that you're looking at, that's remaining over the Starbucks. The same Starbucks it was over me at 11:31 p.m. So that's 2 hours, and it's over the same exact roof as I'm standing on the same exact sidewalk. And you know that it's still here because on video yesterday at 6:41 p.m., when it is not over Woodside Senior Apartments, and when it is not and could not be at what is Alvarado Gardens in alignment to my bedroom window, but I documented that pattern, it is still over this same venue at 507 North Euclid Avenue, where again the Ontario Fire Department provide corroborating evidence against its co-defendants standing in line inside of the Starbucks, sitting inside of the Starbucks, pacing in and out of the bathroom of the Starbucks, driving on Euclid Avenue and C Street around me, around the Starbucks, gang stalking at the Chevron, gang stalking at the Hermando, across the street, gang stalking at all of the venues, in other words, in relevant position. And your ability to recognize the fact that all of them are stalking me together is the fake sun and the documentation of the impossible light activity. And that is the outward demonstration of mental illness by the demons who are gang stalking. That malicious engagement in what is targeting someone, and necessarily doing it as a society, as a population that has no relation to the targeted individual. That is also designed to psychologically harm that targeted individual, and it's entirely demonic, and it's very, very sick. It's the same thing when those demons are doing so, stalking. Conclusive evidence of what is stalking, because it's happening while the specific environment is following me around, in planes and in helicopters. Okay, it's the outward demonstration of demon possession. They are pacing when one walks out of the bathroom and another walks into the bathroom. They're pacing inside of this venue where engineer light is shooting across the room, where the fake sun is remaining over the building. All these demons are doing is monitoring. And that's very, very sick to do so as though nothing is happening. Not that it's not stating that a demon is supposed to talk to you and greet you, but you're observing the stalker, how they are in every regard targeting, and the environment is speaking volumes about their targeting. That's proven conclusively. And then you look at their behavior and their outward demeanor. And then you're also relevant to the ways in which the entity wants to maintain that demeanor, but then they engage in what is also admitting that they're harassing, because if nobody's talking to me and I'm not talking to nobody else, and I'm holding a phone like they're holding a phone, and I'm not on my phone talking about like, let me get you, I'm going to document you stalking, but everybody's acting like they're not paying attention to me, but you know that they are because of the specific environment, but they behave like they're not, and yet they engage in acts of obstruction of justice. This is the entity that's very much psychopathic, and this is the condition of the demon-possessed, those who have the spirit of Satan. Those are the ones that are capable of engaging in murdering people for no reason. Not stating that I think that there is a reason to engage in what is murder that is, I'm not getting into that. I know there's a complex issue there, people that would say it's justified. I'm not getting into that. I'm just stating the psychopath that's engaging in and capable of the personality, the sick mind that is gang stalking, the demon possessed that are gang stalking are the same ones that conspire murder. They engage in harming target individuals. They engage in deconstructing the lives of American citizens. They engage in rape. They engage in planning and plotting such harms to American citizens. They engage in what is seeking to create what are false narratives about the life of that targeted individual. They are engaging in all manner of what is very despicable, perverted, and entirely demented, evil, wicked conduct. The ability to gang stalk is the ability to murder another person, and it's literally that. When you're looking at that psychopathic endeavor that to engage in targeting and to do it in a way that's not supposed to be attributing it to you, but that's totally defeated because you're in the specific environment creating activity. They're creating light activity and audible activity. They're all monitoring. And they're all monitoring a specific person. Where that fake sun goes, it doesn't remain over Starbucks. It doesn't remain over them. It remains over me. And that's also how you're witnessing the mentally ill, okay, who fill this country. Billions of them. And this is a system that's underway in the United States. So it is currently 2:47 p.m. The entity maintaining engineer light, all sorts of sex offenders just pacing in and out of the bathroom while engaging in surveillance, loitering in the path inside of the cafe. And that's what you're doing as an employee. The pattern of conduct is superseding every means whereby the entity is associating belonging to the venue. There is no such thing. The government has no warrant or probable cause, no constitutional authority to engage in monitoring. You are engaging in loitering in the path with a high level of malice in order to facilitate the conspiracy to murder and kidnap. and doing so in a malicious manner, such as millions of people monitoring with you while they're merely driving by, while they're pacing in and out of the cafe, you're loitering in relevant position, and that is what an entity is doing with regard to exhibiting mental illness. The pattern of conduct is superseding everything. Well, I work there, that is your admission that you're engaging in gang stalking. And that is literally how the evidence works. But for the maintenance of that specific environment, and remember, it's not just the environment, because they're engaging in what is facilitating behavior. So they're not coincidentally in that specific environment and engaging in the stalking with amplified noise conduct. They're not coincidentally in the environment and having what is that demonic synchronicity. As you walk by, boom. As you walk by me, the amplified noise. As you walk by me, the impossible light. As you enter in, impossible light shooting through, or the fake sun and amplified noise coming in. However the entity engages in that pattern of conduct, that's not a coincidence. That's the P.O.C. That's the behavioral pattern going along with what is the specific environment. And it is an admission to being a gang stalker in furtherance of murder and kidnapping while you, quote unquote, belong to the venue. You work there, you live there, you're engaging in what is facilitation of a mass amount. The entity is engaging in what is gang stalking with the public, millions of people monitoring, engaging in harassment, which Starbucks is fully exposed for before 2025. I've been documenting Starbucks since 2018, 2019, harassing and engaging in what is criminal summoning because the sex offenders, the terrorists, know that they're being documented, and it's obstruction of justice. They're also engaging in what is the sex offense of molesting me, harassing me with the demons that are driving by their venue. It's an intentional and collective act of the pattern of conduct, engaging in harassment and domestic terrorism and psychological torture, because now not only they're targeting, but they're targeting more because I'm documenting and exposing them. That's also exhibiting mental illness in doing so. Psychopaths. Mad because you're telling on them that they tried to murder you, and you're telling on them. A psychopath is hostile toward that. A sex offender, a psychopath, is hostile because you don't want them keeping you and your genitalia and your private activity under surveillance in the bathroom. They don't want you don't want them stalking you in the bathroom. You don't want them engaging in what is weird conduct, pacing all around you while you're in the bathroom, while they're exhibiting mental illness in doing so. And a psychopath is hostile to that. Understand how you're legally analyzing the mindset in the way that you would any other mental health patient. And the demon possessed are always seeking to project their mental illness, their sickness, onto the target individual. Except I haven't been, by mental illness I mean generally speaking, because this is psychopathic, antisocial, a murderous appetite. The desire to engage in voyeurism, they don't only want to target, but they want to sit back and obsessively watch while they target. That is the personality defect that's capable of murder, and you are looking at them. It is irrespective of the specific position. The at-home mother that comes in with a newborn baby, ordering their Starbucks drink under the fake sun amongst impossible light activity. The demon-possessed, gang-stalking police officer bearing weapons, wearing a badge, coming in, shaking hands, and ordering a cafe drink. The gang-stalking fire department walking in, ordering a drink, getting in line like everybody else, and the same exact P.O.C. is underway. You need to understand the mindset behind those that are engaging in the targeting system. The specific environment is demonic, the behavioral pattern is demonic, the appetite to engage in that P.O.C. in the first place, in the manner in which it's executed, is demonic. And it is speaking to the threat that this population poses, not only because they're monitoring American citizens with the government, in the shoes of the government, but because of the way they are capable of and are engaging in seeking to harm and obstruct justice, as I expose it, for example, just trying to paint one as being mentally ill so that I don't progress in my exposing the entity. And that's speaking to very maniacal, very psychopathic, and very sick conduct and outright desperation. It's outright desperation. But the entity is engaging in that level of desperation, and it's giving a preview into those that are they're ticking time bombs, and these are the ones, like I stated, that are engaging in what is public corruption of of epic proportions, okay? And these are those that are capable of engaging in what is senseless violence, murder, all the gory bad things that you can think of. They're gang stalking now. And this is a warning about the harm that is coming from the psychopaths that are roaming around free, coming into the local Starbucks while they want to engage in targeting somebody, myself, where they know that I'm at. All the demons know where I'm at, so they just come in, take their turn. They're not ordering drinks, they're gang stalking. They're targeting wherever it is that I'm at. If I was hanging out at the Stater Brothers all day long at 646 West Holt Boulevard, you know where the fake sun would be? Over the Starbucks parking lot, which is distinct from being over the Stater Brothers parking lot. That's distinct from being over the Starbucks venue at 507 North Euclid Avenue. and neither is over Woodside Senior Apartments, specifically the building that has units 33 through 64, where I documented both the sunrise and the sunset, and it never deviating from remaining over that building until the end of the day, where, by the way, even in the shade, light is manifesting. That's as impossible as driving your vehicle north or south on Euclid Avenue, and while you're outside of the building in the street, and light is traveling across on the walls and across all the surfaces inside. That's within the pattern of conduct that I've also documented. And the population is going to be subject to a prosecution. The government is gang stalking with the demon possessed. All right, so I want to go through that. It's currently 2:52. I've been speaking for 44 minutes and 50 seconds as of right now. The entity maintaining impossible light while I'm documenting. The employees that are on the clock, the corporate office, Starbucks, there's a body of evidence against Starbucks as I civilly and criminally prosecute brand names. But this is a prosecution of the state. But I have literally the ability to recover from Starbucks based on the documentation, not just at the Starbucks, but Starbucks is engaged in the pattern of conduct. That is, every Starbucks that I go to is engaging in replicating what is a supernatural pattern of conduct, meaning there's no coincidence, there's no possible ability for there to be a coincidence, as Starbucks is a domestic terrorist, and Starbucks is a sex offender, and Starbucks is engaging in what is gang stalking American citizens, and then engaging in what is the intent to obstruct justice, harassing you, psychologically torturing you, terrorizing you as you expose it, as you document it, okay? That is relevant to recovery from Starbucks. As a commercial actor, that is profiting from domestic terrorism while targeting with the government, all right? It is currently 2:53 p.m. I just want to give that context. This is the entity that committed the kidnapping on May 29, 2025. This is the entity that's engaging in that P.O.C. with impunity as well, and is gang stalking by the demons that are maintaining presence. License 8Z TK 958, a demon from U.S.C. 57651 Mary 3, 9 EAD 159, 9 HQN 966, molesting with impossible light 7 UBC 782, license 5129 Charlie 4, 8 MXB 607, 8 CO9 511. Stalking, molesting, terrorizing, harassing with Starbucks, the company, license 8RFN 372, and the Ontario International Airport, pacing while the demons are molesting me inside of the apartment. The demons of the Ontario International Airport are repeatedly pacing in relevant position. That's the pattern of conduct. This is P.O.C. All right, you'll see images of the people that say gang stalking inside of the Starbucks, where impossible light is moving all around inside. Hi. Selena? Oh. Hi, I have a question. Selena? Is it possible for me to let down the blinds? I'm getting a lot of light across my face, and it's kind of distracting. I'm trying to look at my laptop.
Ask the shift lead.
Ask the shift lead?
Yeah.
Okay. Who is that? I'll ask her. Raquel. Hi, Raquel. Hi, I'm getting a lot of light across my face. It's hard to see my laptop. Yeah. Is it okay? Thank you. Raquel, right? Oh, well, you don't have to. I could do it. You could do it. That's fine. Or I could do it. I don't care.
I got you because I have to check the bathroom right now.
Okay, thank you. All right, this is harassment that Starbucks is engaged in while they're monitoring me. Raquel is the current lead. That's what Selena stated. This is P.O.C. It's impossible light activity. In the first place, it's demonic. Asking to put the blinds down is my addressing and documenting them. Starbucks is going to be prosecuted. Every Starbucks that I documented is engaging in what is stalking with impossible light. Light that flies in the air while vehicles are outside of the building. That's a little bit better. Thank you. And while the entity keeps the fake sun over the Starbucks. So the body of evidence is already published. Again, the P.O.C. website, this is the POC.wordpress.com, and the YouTube channel on YouTube at This Is the P.O.C., where you are, it is organized by year, and it is something that it is dispersed throughout the documentation, but very often I try to make playlists so that you can see a consistent pattern. For example, gang stalking me at Walmart by helicopter. I'm documenting this in different counties, and I did a playlist so you could see that. That's identifying how the whole state is targeting me, no matter what city I go to. Not only that, targeting me when I go to Walmart. That's how heavily the entity has been gang stalking and doing so with helicopters, where I can create a playlist of me being targeted by helicopter under the fake sun amongst impossible light activity at places like Walmart. It's the same with regard to Starbucks, with regard to documenting all of the plethora of Starbucks that are engaging in the same exact P.O.C. And doing it in vast locations. The entity is doing so while also aware that it's being documented. So it is within, because I keep my playlist, I keep all the videos chronological, obviously, and they are organized by date. And even on the YouTube channel, you can see it's by year, so 2018 up to the current. And I am currently in the process of uploading the rest of 2021 and 2022. And the 2022 ends in July because the entity engaged in kidnapping on July 31st, 2022. The same Ontario Police Department gang stalking with Tracy Banks committed kidnapping, and that's the only reason why I didn't have any more video from 2022, because I remained kidnapped until January of 2023. This is the same entity that, again, I've never committed any crime. The entity is targeting and criminally defaming, and this is what the entity, again, refers to, talking about having a criminal case. There is no criminal case. It's evidence to use against the entity that's gang stalking me, engaging in what is repeatedly kidnapping, and also manufacturing and just making up information about crime that I committed or mental illness that I suffer from while I'm, and what is the context? Because I'm documenting the P.O.C. Okay, so, but nonetheless, that's relevant to how the evidence is published. It is on the internet, and it is chronological. So I don't do like everything, and especially if you're familiar with the YouTube platform, you can't just like look up Starbucks. Well, you might be able to, but the way that I have it organized, you would have to know. So that would be something that I can make a playlist to give an example so you can see what it is that I'm referring to. But I have years of documentation of Starbucks gang stalking, of Starbucks engaging in bathroom monitoring, of Starbucks engaging in criminal summoning, of Starbucks engaging in what is the sex offense and terrorism and psychological torture by gang stalking, evident through impossible light activity, of Starbucks engaging in what is criminal acts of retaliation, meaning that terrorizing environment is exaggerated. It becomes even more apparent as you document. I've documented this at Starbucks for years, and this is not just the Starbucks in Ontario. So, like I said, it's going from San Bernardino County to Los Angeles County, replete with the fake sun documentation and gang stalking by helicopter. So, it is currently 3 p.m. It's June 5th. The entity is maintaining this impossible light after Raquel goes into the bathroom to monitor me. She goes into, and the impossible light activity is increasing. License 9LUK004, harassing and molesting with impossible light activity. This is also underway. License 9LIT342, license 9NAE315, and these are cowards gang stalking while they are driving by, and engineer light is flying across the seat. That's a terrorizing environment where the entity is gang stalking you with knowledge of the fact that you're documenting it. And Raquel is gang stalking as well, and Raquel knows very well everything that I documented, not because I'm up in front of her and stating anything, because Raquel is a demon, and she is gang stalking while she's working at the venue. So is everybody else that's engaged in what is preparing drinks at this venue where the fake sun is remaining over, which is superseding and removing any sort of constitutional protection, where the entity seeks to target an American citizen and claim, well, I don't know what she's talking about because I work here. I work here every day, even when she's not here, and I've never met her before. The pattern of conduct is happening through those precise circumstances for that very reason, and you will be prosecuted for it. It is currently 3:01 p.m. This is P.O.C. All right, this is gang stalking with a communication device while impossible light moves right across here. And this is after I'm documenting them by name. This is the psychopathic demonstration. Very malicious conduct when impossible light is occurring as you're standing in the path and monitoring. This is how psychopaths engage in acts of retaliation, upset because I'm documenting them. That upset is not, they're not cussing me out, because what are you gonna cuss me out about when you're not monitoring me? So you're presumably ignorant about what it is that I'm doing, especially while I'm presumably ignorant about what you're doing because you're not doing anything. But the entity is engaged in acts of retaliation while Amazon Prime is hovering over the in relevant position right here while I'm documenting on license plates, and this demon wearing at Starbucks an apron is standing there while Impossible Light is shooting across here. And that's an act of retaliation because the demons know that I just documented Selena and Raquel specifically by name. It's the whole cafe and every employee that are gang stalking. Sorry, they're doing so with an ongoing level. There you go. And this is occurring under what is the fake sun that's remaining over the venue. All right, that has nothing to do with traffic out there, but it's identification of targeting. All right, and it's also demonic. It's light activity. All right, and that's pursuant to monitoring communication devices of the demon. She's right here. Crossing path. All right, and doing so, we're today in 2024, the sun is remaining over Alvarado Gardens at 1810 North Alvarado Street. This is all federal stalking. This is domestic terrorism. Monitoring is underway. All right, and the fake sun is remaining over the same venue like it was at 11:30 a.m. And this is all shade. Raquel is targeting while she stands there, quiet, doesn't have to say a word. And her co-defendants are gang stalking, pacing. None of that is ever going to create any light. These are demons who are targeting, and Raquel is targeting under the fake sun with knowledge that she's being documented. That level of malice is demonstrating mental illness by the entity that is gang stalking. Raquel is providing what is a basis of liability for the corporate office Starbucks while they hire demons who are gang stalking. This is P.O.C. All right, the video you just listened to is the same Raquel that I just spoke with, who is indeed gang stalking, and she is on video engaging in just that with the co-defendants whom she's relying on, crossing paths along with her, and Impossible Light coexisting with their crossing path. These are demons who are pacing. You'll see the fake sun as I walk outside after Raquel stands in position in operation of a communication device, while Impossible Light moves across the leather seats, across the wall, which is again demonic. Raquel is also demon possessed, but you also know that she's demon possessed and that she's, number one, a gang stalker, and number two, a sex offender, because she's also monitoring my vagina in the bathroom while she clearly engages in an act of retaliation. It's relevant what I'm documenting about Raquel when then she seconds later steps in front of the window where Impossible Light moves across the seats on the inside of the venue, where everyone who is monitoring pursuant to that P.O.C. is not addressing, nobody's talking about it. They do the same thing with helicopter, gang stalking by helicopter, like it's not happening, like nobody sees anything. Those are the psychopaths who are targeting. All right, this is what Raquel, who represents Starbucks, and it's a basis for liability with regard to targeting that's underway by the company, by its employees, which is exactly what Aveneth Capital Management is doing at the venue, which is not a private residence, with its employees who are gang stalking, including on the job. So Raquel is not coincidentally, Raquel is pursuant to the P.O.C. with knowledge that she's being documented, engaging in what is immediately following an act of retaliation. I'm going to stand in front of you while Impossible Light surrounds in order to monitor you. This is the demon possessed that engage in that, and doing so with the people of the state who are outside in the street and where shade is covering and light is not shooting off of your vehicle. So it's not a reflection that's both sweeping across the building outside, but also piercing through the windows and swiping across the seats and the walls on the inside. That's light activity pursuant to monitoring. And her use of a communication device is relevant also to Title 18 federal stalking, Section 22618, subsections 1 and 2. And Raquel, it's also relevant because she's doing so pursuant to what is federal stalking, monitoring evidence against her, against Starbucks, against the entity. She represents the entity, but she also happens to be a third-party employee of Starbucks. And you can prosecute, I will be prosecuting commercial actors like Starbucks, like Aveneth Capital Management, like Walmart, et cetera, who are gang stalking American citizens in furtherance of murder and kidnapping, and then doing so as a part of what is the system of public corruption, federal group stalking and monitoring, which is happening at Starbucks, it's happening on the freeway, it's happening where you live, it's happening where you work, it's happening where it is that you shop. This is the entity that's doing so, and that's what you'll see on video. High malice. Okay, quietly stands there, mask covering her face, Impossible Light moving across the couch. But it's the same with the patrons inside of the venue. They're all monitoring together. And so are the demons who don't have to talk to each other and have a meeting. Never is sunlight ricocheting off of the side of your car while you're driving by, while the sun is above. And neither is the sun going to be over at 11:31 and still over at 3 p.m. where Raquel is clearly engaged in the P.O.C. with knowledge that I'm documenting her by name. That's criminal with regard to obstruction of justice, and it's the P.O.C. of the mentally ill who are targeting. All right, it's 3:09 p.m. This is P.O.C. XBH158, molesting, harassing with Raquel. This is a psychopath demonstrating severe mental illness, begins pacing as a retaliatory measure while this gang stalker is aware she's being documented. And she is the entity. That's what all of the demons are doing. They're engaging in what is a frenzied act of pacing under the fake sun that's still over the same Starbucks at 507 North Euclid Avenue that it was at 11:30 a.m. And that's how you know that Raquel is targeting me while I'm being accosted, I'm being harassed, I'm being terrorized with impossible light activity by an employee of the venue that has no protection with regard to being prosecuted for gang stalking, an American citizen with the government. And she's also doing so with the co-defendants, those who fill the venue, those who are working at the venue, those who are traveling around the venue in relevant position under the fake sun monitoring me together. That includes the demons who are under the fake sun that you can see over the same roof that it was at 11:30 a.m. And while, again, on this day, remember, you're juxtaposing because LAPD is gang stalking me with helicopters while the fake sun remains over me, which is showing you the crime scene regarding what Raquel is doing and what Raquel knows while she's doing it, and the demented mind state that engages in such conduct. And that is what fills all the demon-possessed who are gang stalking, okay, including those that are using fire trucks, police vehicles, helicopters, and commercial airline planes. In fact, even using venues for like police departments and fire departments and airports to target. That's what is embodied in this demon, Raquel, who was pacing outside and then pacing inside while engineered light is just swarming all around across the wall, across the seat, and it's more and more rich and concentrated following my documentation. And that's a direct reflection regarding the knowledge about what it is that I'm documenting. The entity is going to be prosecuted for federal stalking in addition to what is the gang stalking, in addition to what is just stalking in general, but also for surveillance online. That's existing law, okay? Proving that the government is keeping you under surveillance, is stalking you from place to place and in the manner that it is not fully addressed at all, not adequately, and under any circumstances, gang stalking, not at all. But it's domestic terrorism, it is that. And that's a way to prosecute for domestic terrorism. But federal stalking is what Raquel is engaging in. And she's doing so with the intent to obstruct justice. She's doing so while her co-defendants are gang stalking me with her. And let me read these license plates who are engaging in the P.O.C. surveillance under the fake sun and engineer light while demons are pacing adjacent to the building. That's what these demons with these license plates are engaging in. License plate 2, Charlie Xavier 567. And again, this looks like a South Dakota license plate. And this appears to be a Latino male operating a black Chevy. He's engaged in surveillance while impossible light is moving about all around inside, monitoring me. And he's engaged in federal stalking as well. He's doing so with Raquel, who you will see pacing outside, then walking inside. She's walking back and forth, and into your light monitoring me. And she's doing so in real time while I'm documenting and publishing details about her, including on YouTube. The fake sun is reflecting off of the vehicle engaging in surveillance parked at 507 North Euclid Avenue. That license plate is 9NPY156. This is an aged white male, it appears, with glasses on, salt and pepper facial hair, and the fake sun is directly over the same roof of Starbucks at 507 North Euclid Avenue, which is not going to be in the natural environment, including at the same time of year where the sun would be in a natural environment, over Alvarado Gardens in Los Angeles. Not hovering over the same roof that it was, by the way, at 11:31 this morning, while I'm at the same entrance where Raquel is exhibiting mental illness, pacing around amongst impossible light activity, and also as a retaliatory measure because her psychopathic and sexual violence and gang stalking, her obsession with me, is being proven and documented in order to prosecute the company that she's gang stalking for, and also to prosecute her. She's doing so with regard to the behavioral patterns of the psychopaths who are gang stalking in general, and that includes 9NPY156, who is also parked under the fake sun. You'll see it sitting on the roof of the Starbucks, and you'll see it also reflecting off of this demon's vehicle as I walk beside. That's also impossible light activity. This is all demonic, everything that I'm documenting. Raquel will be seen in images pacing at 3:59 p.m. while she walks inside toward the restroom after walking outside. This is seen at 3:59 and 45 seconds. She's walking outside, crossing paths. She walks inside, crossing path, goes into the bathroom area. She's pacing. She's doing so under the fake sun, and this psychopath is doing so because I'm documenting her by name. There's impossible light activity also on the outside of the building while the demons are stalking in the path, engaging in surveillance, sitting in the path, and engaging in what is the stalking, merely crossing path. This is how an entity is together stalking you collectively. One person after another is remaining around you. This is, again, license plate 9NPY156 and license, South Dakota license 2 Charlie Xavier 567. It's currently 4:06 p.m. and the fake sun is over the same Starbucks that it was at 11:31 a.m. That's, I want to be clear, conclusive evidence. It's not merely, it's not circumstantial, it's not suggesting, it's proving the pattern of conduct, and it's also proving what is knowledge while they engage in that pattern of conduct. So the demons are engaging in that P.O.C. with high level of malice and an appetite to engage in more of the violence that they practice while you document them. And it includes moving around the furniture in and engineer light under the fake sun. That's how they're monitoring inside of the Starbucks. It's speaking to psychological torture and harassment that Starbucks is going to be prosecuted for as its employees engage in that, and its employees engage in it with the patrons. And they also do that with knowledge. That's the relevance of proving also knowledge about the pattern of conduct, and it's also relevant to surveillance. It's the same thing when you're also understanding engaging in criminal defamation. You're engaging in what is malicious assertions regarding criminal activity, regarding mental illness, when you're targeting that American citizen that committed no crime and suffers no mental illness. Also because I just so happen to be engaged in what is alerting the nation about criminal conduct that the United States government is engaging in, and it includes keeping us under surveillance without our knowledge in concert with the very people that live in the country, and it's demonic. It's currently 4:07 p.m. You will see Raquel exhibiting mental illness while she's pacing, while she's loitering in relevant position. She's doing so while you are mindful of the fact that the fake sun is over me while she's in my presence. The fake sun is over me while she's walking back and forth in my presence. Engineer light is shooting across inside of the venue, which is a supernatural occurrence as well, while she is in my presence, pacing all around me like a psychopath would be diagnosed. Engaging in what is just going back and forth, stalking me, following me around. That's what she's doing as an entity. She's doing it as an employee inside of the venue. It is currently 4:08 p.m. This is P.O.C. Okay, the entity is gang stalking, and this is the same Starbucks that is at 507 North Euclid Avenue. None of this is sunlight, as the fake sun sits over the building for the duration of the day, 11:31 a.m., and it is currently 6:09. It's 6:10 p.m. So that's 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 hours. And in addition to that, you're understanding the context of everything that's happening in that environment is accomplishing what is monitoring, which is pursuant to stalking. Hence the system gang stalking, where a particular American citizen is subject to targeting amongst this surveillance system. And these are demons that are monitoring while they're stalking you as a group together. They don't get up in the morning and have a meeting about, okay, well, you walk here, and then the moment she gets up, if she gets up, then you go over there, and then you walk back and forth, and then I'll walk in, and I'll walk back and forth, and then you go in. These are demons, and that's how they have that demonic synchronicity. So first of all, this is impossible light activity inside of the Starbucks. That's impossible light activity. And that is all shade. That's very demonic. It's also absolutely impossible. It's in shade. Starbucks is literally engaging in criminal monitoring and doing so under the fake sun. The fake sun has nothing to do with that impossible light that's inside of the building. This fake sun has nothing to do with the light that's covering. I know that's hard for you to detach your mind from that, but this is the reality of the fake sun documentation, showing how criminal surveillance, which is demonic, and its government action, that the environment is supposed to create the illusion of the natural environment, because you're not even paying attention to the sun above you, first of all. Second of all, when you realize that it's not going anywhere, as I've documented, and there is a connection with regard to the ongoing harassment and terrorism that I've been subject to. Hence, the birth of the P.O.C. evidence, the investigation of the U.S. government, that's criminally monitoring, and it's satanic. And the fake sun has absolutely nothing to do with the light that stays over everything all day long. And even when the fake sun is covered up, and that's only because I'm documenting. This is not the weather. This is not the operation of seasons. These are demons that are being exposed, and the covered up fake sun is relevant to what I expose about those who are going to be inevitably prosecuted. It's also revealing what is malice. It's also revealing surveillance pursuant to Title 18, surveillance on my communication devices, and you're literally stalking me while I'm documenting you stalking me under the fake sun. You are aware of, in other words, you're aware of what it is that I'm documenting, which they also demonstrate through their pattern of conduct. This is the fake sun. That is the same building, 507 North Euclid Avenue. This is the same 507. I just come out the side. Here's my shadow. You have light manifesting inside of the Starbucks On the inside of the building, my shadow, I can walk through it, light that's manifesting, and they're not ignorantly in that environment. They're not ignorantly under an idle light source. They're not ignorantly walking in it, talking in it, creating light activity, pacing in it. It is what you're understanding that the demon possessed are doing, and it's very malicious. And you may as well be wearing Ontario Police Department uniforms, because this is the government that's gang stalking. They're third parties. They're doing that under the guise of what are businesses such as Starbucks, which is corrupt, is engaged in monitoring. And they're also demons that are baristas. Their preparation of drinks is used to stalk with audible activity, pursuant to pacing by the demons that are at the venue. And they're doing so while I'm documenting the same fake sun. So let me show you this, because as I go across the street, the fake sun, all this is engineered light that's spreading out farther. The fake sun doesn't go anywhere. This is the same building. This is P.O.C. All right. So on the inside of the Starbucks over here, that's impossible light activity they're monitoring. Not only is it inexplicable that light shoots off of your car, that's what the demons are suggesting. As I document it, you're surrounded by that evidence, and it's a pattern of conduct. That's demonic, it's impossible, it's supernatural, and it's evidence of stalking. In the same way that the light that's on the walls inside, there is no sun that's present, that's explaining it. This light has nothing to do with the fake sun. All right, it's providing a setting, creating an illusion where this engineer light is key. It is the integral aspect with regard to surveillance, also on communication devices. And there are demons that are in this environment because they're monitoring. All right, this is the fake sun that's at the same exact address. The fake sun does not move if I don't move, as demonstrated at Alvarado Gardens on this day in 2024, as demonstrated at Woodside Senior Apartments, where the entity kept the fake sun rising and setting. That is not going to be seen over the roof of this building. That is not going to create any sort of light activity. It's never going to create any light activity bouncing off of cars into buildings and creating what is light manifesting in the shade. I've seen that so many times. I've documented it so many times, including inside of Tracy Banks's apartment. Light manifesting from darkness, from nowhere. My shadow appearing in the shade. It's pursuant to criminal monitoring. So this is P.O.C. It's currently 6:14 p.m. Raquel is engaged in what is terrorizing me, and doing so while she knows she's being documented. That impossible light activity is going to prosecute her in Starbucks. It's P.O.C. Ontario PD heavily stalking, following from corner to corner. Vehicle 1107, license plate. This demon is driving license plate 1680783, stalking me. This is a heavy set white male. Looks like he's got a bald head. Gang stalking with the people of the state on the roads and the highways in Ontario as I go from Starbucks back toward the museum area, where they're stalking me all night long, knowing exactly where I'm sleeping. The entity engaging in the P.O.C. This demon aims his spotlight on the vehicle all across the Euclid loan and jewelry. That's called light activity. The entity is stalking with the Ontario International Airport as I exit the Starbucks at 507, where the fake sun remained all day long. The entity is gang stalking with the Ontario Fire, and you'll see my multiple shadows. And that is again license 1680783, vehicle 1107 at 10:19 p.m. Gang stalking using a police vehicle and doing so. Okay, that's the entity that's going to be disbanded. That's the entity that committed a kidnapping while they're stalking me, knowing exactly what happened inside of Tracy Banks' apartment when they made those assertions, pursuant to, again, the fact that I'm documenting another demon. Ontario police on the opposite side as I turn around. These are the stalkers that engage in kidnapping, and these are the stalkers that know how I'm embarrassing them on the internet, and they engage in more stalking. They're all obsessed with my vagina as well. That's what you also need to know. When they're anxiously stalking like this, these sex offenders are obsessed with my vagina. They're obsessed with everything that I do when I take my panties down, and that's the reality of them using police vehicles and helicopters to stalk me. It's literally about me. And you know that because the fake sun is over me when they engage in what is pacing in helicopters. And this demon is pacing in the middle of the intersection, which will be on traffic cameras right now, as the demons engage in this conduct as I document them. This is P.O.C. All right, so wherever it is that I'm going, wherever it is that I'm sleeping, as I already documented on June 3rd, 2025, the demon's pacing up and down G Street while the Ontario International Airport is pacing up and down G Street with airplanes, while the entity is stalking me as I am released from kidnapping by helicopter coming out of the Starbucks at 706 West HOLT. The Ontario Police Department is stalking, listening to my breathing patterns, acting like a psychopath. This demon is literally on the loose, acting like a psychopath, swirling, and that will be on traffic cameras. So this is the white male that I'm documenting first, and then another vehicle on the opposite side as I turn around drives on what would be west on Holt Boulevard, comes from the direction of comes from the direction south, so drives north up Euclid Avenue after I document the demon-possessed partner with that license plate, vehicle 1107. And this other demon comes north up Euclid Avenue, turns to turn west onto Holt Boulevard, makes a U-turn in the middle of that intersection, and then makes another U-turn in the middle of the intersection, going back down Holt in the same direction that they reversed from, to drive around and exit off of, to drive around the museum and the San Bernardino County office that I've been documenting for years, the fake sun rising over this building as I slept here, and the fake sun setting at this same intersection, Holt and Euclid Avenue. I've already documented this. All these demons are gang stalking, and doing so while turning off of transit back onto the same street, Euclid. This demon just engaged in pacing. This is what Raquel was doing inside of the Starbucks amongst impossible light activity. This is what the Ontario Police Department are doing because they're gang stalking using police vehicles and also engaging in kidnapping. That's why they're being disbanded. That's why Nathan Morgan, B. Hook, L. Martinez, and C. Torres are going to federal prison. While their partners are out here acting like they cannot control their mental illness, their partners are going to federal prison. Because this is the criminal conduct that they were engaged in when they maliciously asserted what they knew not to be true, while they're gang stalking as an entire department. It is currently 10:22 p.m. The Ontario Police Department follows me everywhere I go. When I'm sleeping inside of Tracy Banks' apartment, the Ontario Police Department is stalking. When I'm sleeping outside, the Ontario Police Department is stalking. So you do not have the authority under the law when they engage in what is stalking and then stating that you are in violation. So you're engaging in surveillance. But I'm just stating the targeted individual is subject to what is a bullying system where criminals are practicing surveillance as a corrupt law enforcement agency. And you can witness their mental illness as you look at my YouTube channel, and I'll be putting it on my website as well. This is the P.O.C.wordpress.com. A whole body of work regarding documenting mental illness as it's exhibited by the demon possessed who engage in pacing in engineered light. That's exactly what this demon, which represents the Ontario Police Department, just did in the middle of the intersection 3 times and driving around the block in order to engage in pacing around me. It's literally all about me, and that's what's so unfortunate about these sex offenders who are obsessed with my vagina, and then they sit around listening, ruminating off of what it is that I've published about them, while they should stop stalking me in the first place. The stalker and the psychopath becomes hostile and more aggressive and more psychopathic. As I document the demon in vehicle 1107, his demon-possessed partner, because they're all stalking together while I'm walking down the street, comes up Euclid Avenue to engage in psychotic pacing all around me, monitoring me. That's a demon. That's a demon that's literally going buck wild in this meat suit that's driving this Ontario Police Department vehicle. Okay, that will be on traffic cameras as well, by the way. So nonetheless, these demons are exceedingly hostile, and they're also obsessed with me in every regard. So I'm speaking the truth about it. This is not something that is a compliment to me. I would never. But anyway, I'm just letting you know that these are the secrets of perverts. These are the secrets of stalkers. These are the secrets of the demon possessed. And on the surface, you'll have many of them that are racist, and that's a demonic spirit as well, looking at me as though I'm some sort of lesser being or whatnot, but that's nothing other than a demonic spirit in the first place. But at the same time, you're stalking me, and you're obsessed when I pull my panties down in the bathroom, and that's what the whole world is going to know about the entire Ontario Police Department of both genders, male and female, sexually obsessed. Obsessed with me, obsessed with everything pertaining to me, and obsessed with everything that I document, including about them. All right, they are the predators that are stalking on an ongoing basis, and the kidnapping that occurred on May 29, 2025 is definitely pursuant to, again, what it is that I document, how unapologetic I am about the truth regarding gang stalkers who are demons and violent sex offenders and psychopaths who are on the loose in need of adequate and appropriate labels so that the national security threat that this population poses, that American citizens can be on guard, can be aware of it. Okay, that's why they engaged in kidnapping. Okay, that's literally why, because of the unadulterated level of my documentation. I'm not going to edit myself when the entity is monitoring my vagina. I'm not going to do that. So that you're monitoring my vagina, you're obsessed with my vagina, I'm going to make sure that you're prosecuted as a sex offender that you are. You certainly are unfit to be in a law enforcement uniform, bearing that badge, being associated with law enforcement. And this is pursuant to what is criminal conduct that law enforcement agencies in California are engaged in. They're engaged in criminal surveillance, and they call themselves police departments. Criminal activity at that with the people of the state. And it's demonic. It's a whole demonic agenda. They're demons doing this. They play cops and robbers with each other, investigating cases that they already know what happened. They know who did what. That's the demons of the Ontario Police Department. Okay, it is currently 10:26 p.m. The demons are stalking on the opposite side of transit, flying the objects in the sky, which regard to the spying devices, those monitoring devices, which even American citizens can go and buy or order or whatnot. They're flying one up in the sky, monitoring me right now while they're stalking in the path on the opposite side of transit. The entity is listening to every word that I state, and the entity that is gang stalking is very hostile while I speak the truth about them, and they would not be triggered if they weren't stalking me in the first place. So not only am I going to prosecute you, I'm going to embarrass you for engaging in what is trying to oppress me while you're stalking me and you're obsessed with my vagina. And then they go home to their husbands and wives, they go home to their lovers, their pets, whatever it is that's threatened by them, because they're psychopaths, while they are stalking me and monitoring my genitalia all day long and all night long. Okay, that's the entity that's filled with the Ontario Police Department. Mike Lorenz's criminal engagement in domestic terrorism in this country is duly noted, and he will be permanently removed from law enforcement as well. It's not just going to be a prosecution. It's not just going to be disbandment. You're disbanding. You're never doing law enforcement anywhere else. That's a rule. That's going to be a hard and fast rule with regard to domestic terrorism by corrupt cops. Okay, it's currently, by the way, 10:27 p.m. And you'll see in my images the Ontario Fire Department engaging in criminal summoning while they use their lights. Their fire truck lights do not cause 3 shadows. All right, so my shadow's on the ground, my shadow's on the wall at a distance away from me, and my shadow is moving on the wall. Again, 2 of them upright on the wall, while demons of the Ontario Fire Department, like you saw inside of the Starbucks at 1:28 p.m., where the Ontario Fire Department and the Los Angeles Police Department are stalking me at the same time on the same day, 2024 and 2025 at the exact same time, gang stalking together, providing a tutorial for the world to understand how the demon-possessed are engaging in domestic terrorism in this country and its government conduct. All right, it's currently 10:28 p.m. This is P.O.C. All right, this is the object I'm referring to on my podcast. This is what they're flying while they're stalking in the path. Ontario police are stalking in the path. That's Ontario police. I documented vehicle number 1107, and they're flying this right here up and down. It's elevating in elevation, going up and down, and remaining right here. And this is a camera. They're watching, and this is a means of patrolling in the sky space. This is a means of surveillance. While they are literally stalking in the vehicle with a method of light activity, while the people of the state are pacing, they're monitoring together. This is what's going on in Starbucks while the fake sun remains over the Starbucks building all day long. Like I documented from 11:30 a.m. till after 6 p.m. today again. And the demons who are the people of the state are pacing just like they are now on Euclid, gang stalking with the Ontario police just like they were all day today while I remained at Starbucks, and impossible light activity was shooting inside of that Starbucks in order to monitor. This is what Ontario Police Department is doing right now at nightfall in engineer light. Okay, it is currently, by the way, this is what I was referring to on the podcast. It's 10:29 p.m. This is P.O.C. This is what they're doing over Woodside Senior Apartments when I'm there in the specific environment. It's the same Ontario Police Department. Remember, L. Martinez is going to federal prison. B. Hook, he's going to federal prison. So is C. Torres. He's going to federal prison. So is Corey Watson. So is Jason Knighton. L. Keys, Lester Keys, federal prison. Jonathan Burnett, going to federal prison. S. Patty, she's going to federal prison. While the entity is gang stalking, the body of evidence establishing criminal surveillance by the Ontario Police Department and all the acts of kidnapping with the intent to obstruct justice, because I'm exposing them as those who are engaging in what is gang stalking with the people of the state. Okay, this is where this is called crossing path, when you've got shadows on both sides of your person, and doing so, which is pacing with the Ontario Police, who just flew over by helicopter. This is where the entity is keeping the fake moon over me at nightfall. This is the pattern of conduct. Here's my shadow here, and here's my shadow here. Those officers' names that I just stated are going to federal prison. They engaged in kidnapping. They engaged in kidnapping while masquerading as a law enforcement agency that's not engaged in criminal surveillance in the way in which the P.O.C. has proven. All right, it's flying over my head while the fake sun's over me, flying over my head while the fake moon is over me. The fake moon being over me at the exit of the Starbucks last night at 507 North Euclid Avenue, after the sun stayed over the Starbucks like it did today at 507 North Euclid Avenue. This is where the Ontario Police Department is gang stalking. And remember, all they did was cross path right now. They were already, and they are right now, stalking in the sky space in a helicopter. Just deciphering when to cross path in a method that's perceptible. And the people of the state, the demons, they're sitting around stalking as well, engaging in the same thing based on what I do as I do it, crossing path, which is creating light activity. Not only the vehicles, but they're all driving an engineered light. I have a shadow here and I have a shadow here. That's monitoring. And those are all demons gang stalking with the Ontario Police Department, the people of the state that committed kidnapping on May 29, 2025. And that's why the demons who are part of the Ontario Police Department that I named are going to federal prison, amongst others. It is currently 11:08 p.m. That's domestic terrorism and psychological torture by the demon-possessed Ontario Police Department. And that vehicle number 1107, with the heavy, bald-headed white male gang stalking, and then his demon-possessed partner that engages in what is driving in this direction up north, turning west on HOLT, making a U-turn in the middle of the street, and then engaging in what is making another U-turn in the middle of the intersection. That's called pacing an engineered light. While I was documenting his demon-possessed partner, while they're still on transit, stalking in the path with light, while the people of the state are demons pacing all around me, and a helicopter flies over right now. And that demon engaged in what is pacing, driving around while I narrated it on my podcast. All right, this is the P.O.C. This is the entity that engages in what is kidnapping while they're obsessively stalking me. And they use thousands and thousands of dollars. It's been millions of dollars now. It's been years that the Ontario Police, the state, has been keeping me under surveillance, using police vehicles, the resources of a police department, helicopters, in doing so. That's called crossing path and engineer light. And that's all they're doing. They're sitting around on back streets, on corners, on side streets, pacing, stalking incessantly. Currently, 11:09 p.m. This is impossible light activity and not the product of light fixtures. This is the same engineer light that's at Woodside Senior Apartments where the Ontario Police engaged in kidnapping, making assertions, writing it down on paper when they know exactly what happened. Ontario Police crossing path on transit. Ontario Police that you just saw crossing path right now. And this is demonic pacing. That's called amplification. That's a demon flying a helicopter, and that's the fake moon. This is what the Ontario International Airport takes part in as well. Demons flying commercial airline planes, engaging in criminal surveillance. That's not what Delta Airlines is advertising, and it's also not what Delta Airlines is expected to be engaging in, but it's what it is engaging in. It's the pattern of conduct. Pay attention, this is pacing in engineered light. My shadows on both sides of my person. Impossible light activity, audible activity, relevant positioning, a demon that's pacing, exhibiting mental illness in doing so. That mentally ill psychopath, that antisocial tendency, that voyeuristic appetite, that's a demon, a psychopath that's currently in law enforcement, and they're going to be relieved of those duties. Mike Lorenz, and I want to be clear, the demons of the Ontario Police Department are done with law enforcement, and they are infuriated and hostile as I document that. This is not the use of what is law enforcement. This is surveillance stalking. This is P.O.C. They followed me from the Starbucks, gang stalking all day long at Starbucks. This is not law enforcement. This is surveillance. This over here, pursuant to surveillance by the Ontario Police. It's surveillance. And this is what they were doing at the Starbucks at 706 West HOLT as I published the kidnapping on the podcast. They were engaged in flying in a circle there. That was surveillance as well. This is what they were doing when I was on F Street in front of the people of the state venue, when the demons followed me from Starbucks to while I was walking to Woodside Senior Apartments, and the demons of the Ontario Police Department engaged in surveillance, evident by gang stalking and helicopters from place to place, engaged in flying over me just like they did right now, repeatedly pacing like psychopaths, exhibiting severe mental illness in doing so. This is what needs to be diagnosed, and this is relevant to both the diagnosis and the prosecution of the gang stalking police officers in the United States of America. All right, and what the LAPD under the corrupt leadership of Michael Moore and Dominic Choi practice, as I documented it on video, and those demons are still stalking while they're engaging in what is psychopathic behavior, the pacing and engineered light. That's a demon that's monitoring, not engaging in what is law enforcement as a police department. This is criminal monitoring. This is stalking by the police, and they're demon possessed in doing so. And the people of the state are all pacing. They're all in engineered light, pacing all around. And they're all listening to me, and they're all focused on me, and they're all sex offenders that are also obsessed with my vagina. This is the reality. Don't forget about the sex offenders when you're looking at them gang stalking. They're violent sex offenders. Violent sex offenders. This is criminal. And there are people going to federal prison for it. This is P.O.C. It is currently 11:12 p.m. This is understanding the national security threat of the demon-possessed population that's engaging in what is targeting American citizens by gang stalking them. And criminal surveillance, as you are aware of, because I've shown you what the specific environment is, because the sun is not over you also in Louisiana while it's sitting over Starbucks from 11:31 a.m. until 6:41 p.m. You are aware of you are subject to surveillance as well. However, the entity engages in what is gang stalking, conspiring to murder and kidnap American citizens who are under surveillance, and that's demonic that the entity engages in together. The gang stalking police departments are the hallmark for identifying that system that's occurring in the specific environment. This is P.O.C. Here's my shadow over here on the bushels, and here's my shadow over here. This is the pattern of conduct, and the demons are engaging in that P.O.C. together with impunity. And the Ontario Police Department's criminal activity is going to be used against the demons who are going to federal prison for engaging in criminal summoning, criminal defamation, for engaging in what is kidnapping as an entity. It's currently 11:13 p.m. and the demons are still gang stalking in helicopter, just stopped flying in circles over me, not going anywhere, stalking on a ceaseless basis 24 hours. Surveillance is 24 hours a day. And these are the demons that are going to be subject to a return to sender for their practicing of witchcraft, for the sex cult activity that they engage in, for the summoning of the demonic spirits that they've played with, and that they're not sacrificing me, they've sacrificed themselves. And it's also going to exist in what is a prosecution. It is currently, and that's shared, these are all demons. This is the practice of witchcraft, and it's manifesting in public corruption. All right, it's currently 11:14 p.m. This is P.O.C. at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts, where the entity has been engaged in documenting documented criminal surveillance evident through the specific environment and the criminal stalking by the law enforcement agency. That's a terrorist organization wearing a mask as a legitimate law enforcement agency, gang stalking in helicopters and in police vehicles. P.O.C. Ontario PD heavily stalking, following from corner to corner. Vehicle 1107, license plate. This demon is driving license plate 1680783, stalking me. This is a heavy-set white male. Looks like he's got a bald head. Gang stalking with the people of the state on the roads and the highways in Ontario as I go from Starbucks back toward the museum area, where they're stalking me all night long, knowing exactly where I'm sleeping. The entity engaging in the P.O.C. This demon aims his spotlight on the vehicle all across the Euclid loan and jewelry. That's called light activity. The entity is stalking with the Ontario International Airport as I exit the Starbucks at 507, where the fake sun remained all day long. The entity is gang stalking with the Ontario Fire, and you'll see my multiple shadows. And that is again license 1680783, vehicle 1107 at 10:19 p.m. Gang stalking using a police vehicle and doing so. Okay, that's the entity that's going to be disbanded. That's the entity that committed a kidnapping while they're stalking me, knowing exactly what happened inside of Tracy Banks' apartment when they made those assertions, pursuant to, again, the fact that I'm documenting another demon. Ontario police on the opposite side as I turn around. These are the stalkers that engage in kidnapping, and these are the stalkers that know how I'm embarrassing them on the internet, and they engage in more stalking. They're all obsessed with my vagina as well. That's what you also need to know. When they're anxiously stalking like this, these sex offenders are obsessed with my vagina. They're obsessed with everything that I do when I take my panties down, and that's the reality of them using police vehicles and helicopters to stalk me. It's literally about me. And you know that because the fake sun is over me when they engage in what is pacing in helicopters, and this demon is pacing in the middle of the intersection, which will be on traffic cameras right now, as the demons engage in this conduct as I document them. This is P.O.C. All right, so wherever it is that I'm going, wherever it is that I'm sleeping, as I already documented on June 3rd, 2025, the demon's pacing up and down G Street while the Ontario International Airport is pacing up and down G Street with airplanes, while the entity is stalking me as I am released from kidnapping by helicopter coming out of the Starbucks at 706 West Holt. The Ontario Police Department is stalking, listening to my breathing patterns, acting like a psychopath. This demon is literally on the loose, acting like a psychopath, swirling, and that will be on traffic cameras. So this is the white male that I'm documenting first, and then another vehicle on the opposite side as I turn around, drives on what would be west on Holt Boulevard, comes from the direction south, so drives north up Euclid Avenue after I document the demon-possessed partner with that license plate, vehicle 1107, and this other demon comes north up Euclid Avenue, turns to turn west onto Holt Boulevard, makes a U-turn in the middle of that intersection, and then makes another U-turn in the middle of the intersection, going back down Holt in the same direction that they reversed from, to drive around and exit off of, to drive around the museum and the San Bernardino County office that I've been documenting for years, the fake sun rising over this building as I slept here, and the fake sun setting at this same intersection, Holt and Euclid Avenue. I've already documented this. All these demons are gang stalking, and doing so while turning off of transit back onto the same street, Euclid. This demon just engaged in pacing. This is what Raquel was doing inside of the Starbucks amongst impossible light activity. This is what the Ontario Police Department are doing because they're gang stalking using police vehicles and also engaging in kidnapping. That's why they're being disbanded. That's why Nathan Morgan, B. Hook, L. Martinez, and C. Torres are going to federal prison. While their partners are out here acting like they cannot control their mental illness, their partners are going to federal prison. Because this is the criminal conduct that they were engaged in when they maliciously asserted what they knew not to be true, while they're gang stalking as an entire department. It is currently 10:22 p.m. The Ontario Police Department follows me everywhere I go. When I'm sleeping inside of Tracy Banks' apartment, the Ontario Police Department is stalking. When I'm sleeping outside, the Ontario Police Department is stalking. So you do not have the authority under the law when they engage in what is stalking and then stating that you are in violation. So you're engaging in surveillance. But I'm just stating the target individual is subject to what is a bullying system where criminals are practicing surveillance as a corrupt law enforcement agency. And you can witness their mental illness as you look at my YouTube channel, and I'll be putting it on my website as well. This is the P.O.C.wordpress.com. A whole body of work regarding documenting mental illness as it's exhibited by the demon possessed who engage in pacing in engineered light. That's exactly what this demon, which represents the Ontario Police Department, just did in the middle of the intersection 3 times and driving around the block in order to engage in pacing around me. It's literally all about me, and that's what's so unfortunate about these sex offenders who are obsessed with my vagina, and then they sit around listening, ruminating off of what it is that I've published about them, while they should stop stalking me in the first place. The stalker and the psychopath becomes hostile and more aggressive and more psychopathic. As I document the demon in vehicle 1107, his demon-possessed partner, because they're all stalking together while I'm walking down the street, comes up Euclid Avenue to engage in psychotic pacing all around me, monitoring me. That's a demon. That's a demon that's literally going buck wild in this meat suit that's driving this Ontario Police Department vehicle. Okay, that will be on traffic cameras as well, by the way. So nonetheless, these demons are exceedingly hostile, and they're also obsessed with me in every regard. So I'm speaking the truth about it. This is not something that is a compliment to me. I would never. But anyway, I'm just letting you know that these are the secrets of perverts. These are the secrets of stalkers. These are the secrets of the demon possessed. And on the surface, you'll have many of them that are racist, and that's a demonic spirit as well, looking at me as though I'm some sort of lesser being or whatnot. But that's nothing other than a demonic spirit in the first place. But at the same time, you're stalking me. And you're obsessed when I pull my panties down in the bathroom. And that's what the whole world is going to know about the entire Ontario Police Department of both genders, male and female. Sexually obsessed. Obsessed with me, obsessed with everything pertaining to me, and obsessed with everything that I document, including about them. All right, they are the predators that are stalking on an ongoing basis, and the kidnapping that occurred on May 29, 2025 is definitely pursuant to, again, what it is that I document, how unapologetic I am about the truth regarding gang stalkers who are demons and violent sex offenders and psychopaths who are on the loose in need of adequate and appropriate labels so that the national security threat that this population poses, that American citizens can be on guard, can be aware of it. Okay, that's why they engaged in kidnapping. Okay, that's literally why, because of the unadulterated level of my documentation. I'm not going to edit myself when the entity is monitoring my vagina. I'm not going to do that. So that you're monitoring my vagina, you're obsessed with my vagina, I'm going to make sure that you're prosecuted as a sex offender that you are. You certainly are unfit to be in a law enforcement uniform, bearing that badge, being associated with law enforcement. And this is pursuant to what is criminal conduct that law enforcement agencies in California are engaged in. They're engaged in criminal surveillance, and they call themselves police departments. Criminal activity at that with the people of the state. And it's demonic. It's a whole demonic agenda. They're demons doing this. They play cops and robbers with each other, investigating cases that they already know what happened. They know who did what. That's the demons of the Ontario Police Department. Okay, it is currently 10:26 p.m. The demons are stalking on the opposite side of transit, flying the objects in the sky, which regard to spying devices, those monitoring devices, which even American citizens can go and buy or order or whatnot. They're flying one up in the sky, monitoring me right now while they're stalking in the path on the opposite side of transit. The entity is listening to every word that I state, and the entity that is gang stalking is very hostile while I speak the truth about them, and they would not be triggered if they weren't stalking me in the first place. So not only am I going to prosecute you, I'm going to embarrass you for engaging in what is trying to oppress me while you're stalking me and you're obsessed with my vagina. And then they go home to their husbands and wives, they go home to their lovers, their pets, whatever it is that's threatened by them because they're psychopaths, while they are stalking me and monitoring my genitalia all day long and all night long. Okay, that's the entity that's filled with the Ontario Police Department. Mike Lorenz's criminal engagement in domestic terrorism in this country is duly noted, and he will be permanently removed from law enforcement as well. It's not just going to be a prosecution. It's not just going to be disbanding. You're never doing law enforcement anywhere else. That's a rule. That's going to be a hard and fast rule with regard to domestic terrorism by corrupt cops. Okay, it's currently, by the way, 10:27 p.m. And you'll see in my images the Ontario Fire Department engaging in criminal summoning while they use their lights. Their fire truck lights do not cause 3 shadows. All right, so my shadow's on the ground, my shadow's on the wall at a distance away from me, and my shadow is moving on the wall. Again, 2 of them upright on the wall, while demons of the Ontario Fire Department, like you saw inside of the Starbucks at 1:28 p.m., where the Ontario Fire Department and the Los Angeles Police Department are stalking me at the same time on the same day, 2024 and 2025 at the exact same time, gang stalking together, providing a tutorial for the world to understand how the demon-possessed are engaging in domestic terrorism in this country and its government conduct. All right, it's currently 10:28 p.m. This is P.O.C. That's called stalking in the path. All they're doing is doing U-turns like they were over the Ontario Town Square while the fake sun was over me at Starbucks. The Ontario International Airport engaging in what is taking flights and then just flying at a distance and going back to the airport. Whatever the rationale would be for this conduct, which is clearly targeting, it's in an engineer light under the fake moon at nightfall, and it's amplified in volume. The sound of the plane sounds like it's coming over here. The plane is over there, and it's also in perfect alignment with me where I am being covered with engineered light. The Ontario International Airport is obsessed with my vagina as well. Sex offenders who are demon-possessed having no business with a license to fly planes where people can be killed by them. They're demons, they're gang stalkers, they are psychopaths. Gang stalking a woman in the middle of the night, 11:29 p.m., where the people of the state are gang stalking together. This is not traffic, these are stalkers. Making sure that they're stalking in the path of repeatedly pacing. All right, and the entity is doing so while I got up from walking at that bench to walking over here. Immediately amplified plane activity. That sounds like it's coming over there. That's called amplification. The plane is over there. And the airport is in Ontario at Terminal 2 and Terminal 4. The entity is engaging in what is being at a low elevation and doing so with regard to flying in the opposite direction. The plane didn't originate over here. So while I'm walking over here, I'm hearing a plane and it's back here. It didn't even come forward. So they're coming up and making a U-turn. They're engaging in donuts. They're pacing. That's called pacing, by the way. That's demonic. It has nothing to do with the legitimate operations of an airport. They are using the airport at the Ontario International Airport. They're using the airlines to engage in criminal conduct, surveillance, monitoring, gang stalking. This is P.O.C. It's currently 11:30 p.m. Here's the Ontario police that are obsessed with me, gang stalking in helicopter in a perceptible manner. Again, they didn't go anywhere. So they are simultaneously acting with the sound of the Union Pacific train, and that's the audible activity while a demon is crossing path. Pay attention to the pattern, okay? His shadow's reaching all the way over here. That's a demon, and that's a gang stalker acting with the police. Demons pacing together, okay? One getting paid by the Ontario Police Department, another sharing the same condition as the demons of the Ontario Police Department, sharing in public corruption. This is P.O.C. This is demonic pacing. All right, the entity is engaging in ongoing obsessive stalking. It's gang stalking, and that's pacing on Euclid Avenue via the people of the state. Traffic on Euclid Avenue is for purposes of monitoring. The entity is engaging what is flying over my head repeatedly, flying in circles repeatedly. This is relevant to psychological torture that the state of California is going to be prosecuted for, that the demons of the Ontario Police Department are going to be relieved from law enforcement permanently for. And there is a body of evidence, hundreds of them gang stalking, engaging in what is domestic terrorism by stalking a woman that's documenting them stalking. They're not only gang stalkers, they're not only demons, but they're monitoring the evidence about them stalking. And it's not going to be disregarded or ignored. And it's also not mistaken for legitimate law enforcement. This is criminal conduct by a corrupt law enforcement agency who's exposed as a bunch of demons. All right, they're engaging in, again, stalking in helicopters, so don't forget the light activity, which is giving you content about criminal conduct, not normal behavior, and also the inability for me to control the people that are always flying around me and following me from place to place in helicopters in an environment that is entirely supernatural. Don't forget that the sun remained over me at Starbucks today for over 7 hours over the building. Don't forget that I'm documenting the sunrise and the sunset at Woodside Senior Apartments. Don't forget that I already documented the sunrise and the sunset on an ongoing basis when I lived in Los Angeles, and the LAPD engaged in the exact same pattern of conduct for 46 minutes, as a matter of fact. On April 15, 2024, flying in circles, exhibiting severe mental instability, psychopaths that need to be removed from the ability to have licenses to fly planes and helicopters. When they're engaging in gang stalking, their mental illness is put at the forefront. It is put on full display. All right? This is the entity that's gang stalking as a police department. Paul Leon, Mike Lorenz, to name a few. These are the demons that are going to be removed from position. This is P.O.C. It's currently 11:39 p.m. where a police department is stalking a woman, all right, and doing so because I happen to be somebody that's exposing them. So now they have more of a motivation other than the fact that they're voyeuristic, violent sex offenders and psychopaths who engage in targeting American citizens as a way of corrupt law enforcement practices. All right, now the entity is motivated because I'm documenting and exposing them. That is long ago accomplished, however. Okay, the entity that's engaging in what is seeking to obstruct justice, you're not avoiding justice, and the penalties are going to be even worse. It's going to be enhanced. The Ontario Police Department is done with law enforcement. This is P.O.C. That's a demon stalking in the path with light at transit. All right, this is everything that's given context. Light fixtures do not cause your shadow to be on both sides of your person. Okay, that's not normal light activity. I'm facing the light, my shadow should be behind me, but yet I'm looking at it in front of me. Okay, you do not have multiple shadows that are going to be created by every single light fixture that you have. Light does not engage in that conduct, and this is surveillance that the police are engaging in. Okay, in concert with the people of the state who are demons as well. This is demonic activity. P.O.C. This is the entity amplifying helicopter. Criminal summoning. I just want to be clear. This is the tactic of the demons who are, again, very much delusional because they're listening to me speak quite authoritative with regard to what's going to happen to them. So they engage in more of a bravado. This is exactly what's going to result in disbanding. So you can mark my words. This is exactly what the demons are doing, sounding their vehicles and flying all around, engaging in ominous stalking. This is a threat. You're legally analyzing it. This is a threat, but these are demons. Oh, we're going to be creepy and we're going to stalk. We're going to do more with helicopters and drive all around you and sound our vehicles. These are demons who are stalking me. And it's a police department. And they're obsessed with my vagina as well. There is nothing courageous. There's nothing bravado. There's nothing that's engaging in any sort of sizable response when your response is more stalking. That's the actual purpose of repeatedly flying in helicopter, which is incriminating behavior. Again, those are the short-sighted, delusional psychopaths whose mental illness is put at the forefront. It's no longer closeted. It's no longer, in other words, hidden because they're wearing badges. The mentally ill who are gang stalking cannot be confused with sane individuals. Never again. All right. It is currently 11:42. Moments after the second that I stop recording, the demons act with simultaneity. That's a demon at the intersection. All they're doing is stalking. That's Ontario Police. The entity's controlling the lights. That's loitering in relevant position. Impossible light activity. The demons fly over by helicopter. The moment that I stop recording the previous video, a demon that's already at the intersection sounding, crossing path at the intersection, crossing path by helicopter. The fake moon, the light source in the sky space is relevant context with regard to stalking by a police department. And they're doing so because of their hostility to what I'm speaking, the authority that I have to let these demons know that they're going to be judged. And they're also going to be judged in a court of law. This is P.O.C. All right, the videos that you just listened to on the podcast, make sure you are always cognizant of Tracy Lemire Banks, license plate 9HUZ740, and the people that stayed at Woodside Senior Apartments gang stalking with the Ontario Police Department, as I've been documenting as of 2024, September, upon my return from Los Angeles, September 2024, up until the kidnapping that the entity committed with the intent to obstruct justice, and doing so via criminal defamation. Tracy Banks is what you're thinking of when you're looking at the Ontario Police gang stalking, because that's what's standing in her living room. That's what's sitting there discussing, acting like they're legitimate law enforcement officers, not keeping me under surveillance inside of that apartment under a fake sun that remains over that building. That's what you're mindful of when the demons are engaging in what is stalking with impossible light activity, pacing along that sidewalk outside of Tracy Banks' apartment while she has engineer light flying inside of her apartment. Evidence of surveillance with the police who are gang stalking me when I'm outside of her apartment. They're gang stalking me with her when I'm inside of her apartment, and she is gang stalking now. She is a part of the entity. Do not forget Tracy Banks, because she is, and the people of the state are being prosecuted, while delusional psychopaths, exactly what I stated is exactly what they're demonstrating, delusion, while they are engaging in what is not a response to documentation which is serving to prosecute you and diagnose you. That is, again, being deluded with an ego. That ego is going to have a lot of Ontario Police Department officers being removed and being put in prison. But that's, again, the spirit of Satan operating over them, and its providence for a federal prosecution. Okay, so the mere frequency, the specific environment, the Ontario Museum of History and Arts, by the way, it's already established as the specific environment. The fake sunrise and sunset, the impossible light activity, the entity gang stalking by plane and helicopter, the entity engaging in criminal summoning, the entity engaging in what is that ongoing P.O.C. as I've documented very heavily Ontario, and then I relocated to L.A., and it is impossible that the Los Angeles Police Department could possibly coincidentally engage in the same P.O.C. in the specific environment. It would have been at least the case that the specific environment remained only in Ontario. So at least something fishy is going on with the law enforcement agency in San Bernardino County, but it doesn't seem to exist in LA. No, we don't have that. It doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's a statewide P.O.C. and LAPD engaged in replicating exactly what the demons are doing in San Bernardino County. But by the way, I also documented the fake sun remaining over me where it would never be when it's rising and setting at Woodside, outside in alignment with me while I'm driving in Kern County, and the Kern County Sheriff's Department are gang stalking by helicopter. That's how you're able to identify that, because you have the hallmark of the fake sun, and where the fake sun is, helicopters are engaging in what is pursuing me, demons that are stalking me using helicopters, and they exhibit mental illness while they do so. The particular type of that sociopathic, psychopathic personality disorder. The type that's capable of engaging in and delights in causing suffering of another, watching them suffer, and also engaging in it in a manner that is highly malicious so that they are not identified as the one causing that harm, inflicting that damage. That's the psychopath that is in law enforcement, that's gang stalking, and stalking in helicopters in particular. That deluded mindset is why they are being heavily documented right now, while they are, again, in their mind, Satan has them thinking that they're making a statement because they are demon-possessed fools. They're idiots. They're delusional. And that delusion is going to have a lot of people in federal prison, and that's not an exaggeration. This is the entity that's incapable of exercising self-control. There's a body of evidence speaking to what is beyond probable cause regarding corruption by the Ontario Police Department, to name one of several police departments. One of several. The demon possessed are engaging in a pattern of conduct as well. Remember, it's not just corruption because of the criminal conduct. You're looking at the quality, the character of their conduct. It's very creepy. It's very demonic. They're demons at that. And those demons are the ones that lack self-control when they are facing not somebody that's just crying and pleading and doesn't know what to do. I'm prosecuting you, and you call yourself responding to evidence that's going to be used in a court. Those are the delusional psychopaths who are gang stalking. And do not forget Tracy Banks, license 9HUZ740, because she is gang stalking with them when she summons these gang stalking demons to her apartment, which is the malicious pattern of conduct, because the Ontario police don't have to be called to know what's going on there. Those are the psychopaths, again, exhibiting mental illness, psychopathic, very sick, to arrive as though you don't already know what's going on. As you're new on the scene and you're learning, that's a psychopath. That's a psychopath. And so is Tracy Banks. You remember that, because when you're listening to this and when you're looking at those videos, the whole world needs to pay attention to this gang stalker Her name is Tracy Banks. She's going to a mental asylum. She engaged in kidnapping with the intent to obstruct justice because the entity thought that Tracy Banks is the one that's going to be able to get me kidnapped and that I would remain in that state via defaming me, stating that I'm committing a crime and stating that I'm mentally ill. And there's a whole body of evidence that's already rebutting that. So the entity is just corrupt, okay? And regardless of the evidence, it's never going to get to a point of conclusion if they can get me kidnapped regardless, as though you're going to usurp the will of the Lord. These are the delusional psychopaths repeatedly flying over my head in helicopter and engineered light under the fake moon at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts, where there is years of documentation of them gang stalking me even before tonight. This is the P.O.C. Do not forget about Tracy Banks. She is being prosecuted while her co-defendant, the Ontario Police Department, are gang stalking at the museum. It's 11:50 p.m.